Welcome, everyone, into your Tuesday night show here on World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and I'm going to introduce my co-host in just a minute, but I wanted to let you guys know that the countdown for Stealing Solo is on. Thursday, we are 1 week away from the closing of the book. So if you guys want to get on this right now, and I know you do, make sure you go to the link in the description. You can check out Stealing Solo 2, and we will tell you more about that a little later in tonight's show as more people show up. But let's introduce the co-hosts. First off, all the way from the Rippaverse. You know him, you love him. Say hello to Andy Andrew.
What is going on, guys? What's up, Jeff? What's up, chat? I'm excited to be here tonight. We got a couple of fun topics. Got a couple of fun books to promote as well, including, but not limited to, Stealing Solo 2, Power of the Farce. So let's have a good time together.
We will. We always do here on a Tuesday night, and we're back from the holidays, so everybody's excited. Now, this man, he has a Thanksgiving, but it wasn't the same Thanksgiving that we celebrated here in America. But that's okay. We love him still the same. Say hello to the Script Doctor.
Hey. Happy to be here, guys, especially after your wonderful Thanksgiving Day weekend. I got to enjoy some turkey and pumpkin pie, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, looking forward to a fun show with all of you gents and ladies out there.
Let's be honest. I look at our demographic. We have like one lady that listens. But hey, we're happy to have you, ma'am.
And that one person is valuable. Okay.
Yeah. There's one lady that's like a super supporter. It's funny. But she's always on the Thursday night show. But we have another co-host joining us tonight, a guest. Now, folks, on Friday, I had the pleasure of being over on this channel. But today, we have Jared joining us as well from the Comics League. What is up, Jared?
What is going on? Just slowly trying not to lose my mind with all the different ways that DC Comics can really piss me off. So I'm glad to be here.
It is a daily occurrence that an entertainment company pisses off fans, but it seems like an hourly occurrence when it comes to comic book fans because it's always trying to fix what isn't broke. It's like, Batman's great. Let's change it up.
Let's give Wonder Woman a daughter. That won't blow up in our faces.
Yeah, because I said this to you off air, man. In Scripted, Andrew, I think you can sympathize, or at least understand. We have got, like, for decades, comic book characters had a status quo. The iconic classic stuff that we all know. But for like the last 25 years, DC and Marvel have refused to give us some of our most basic elements of our favorite characters. And it's almost to a point with me where it's like, for example, when DC brought the Trunks back on Superman, I went out and bought every book that he was in. I was like, you know what? I want Trunks Superman. I'm getting what I want. But I don't get that across the board. So I feel like when they go back and just start giving us like the basic status quo shit, like simple classic costumes, character relationships, character families and stuff like that back to the way they used to be, I think we'll be better off as a comic book community.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the reasons why a lot of publishing companies, especially like DC and Marvel, are kind of changing up things like that, like introducing characters with children, is because those children will become new characters under new copyright law. They then become established under the mantle of the initial character, and it perpetuates the privacy of those characters, which is a double-edged sword. Because in one aspect, I understand a lot of people like public domain. I don't like it personally because I've seen how people make those versions of it. Like, for instance, there's 1,000 Robin Hoods, all but like 2 are good.
Yeah,
that's true.
I really don't want that for superheroes of like Batman, Spider-Man, or what have you in the future, but it's eventually going to happen. It's just inevitable, but it's just breaks my heart because sadly everybody thinks they can write a story for a character, and sadly 1% of them can actually do it.
If not.
So I made a stupid decision this week. So someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, I saw you're a Wonder Woman fan. Could you take a look at like a Wonder Woman pitch that I had?" The next time I say yes to any of this, please slap me in the face, because what I proceeded to read is it comes across as fan fiction. That's what it comes across as.
Oh, that's being polite.
No. Oh yeah, there are words I could say.
Well, I can sympathize with you. While no one's ever sent me their pitch for comic books, well, that's not true. They have sent me stuff, but legally you can't really do anything with it.
Mhm.
But I have had at least 24 fans send me rewrites of the Star Wars The Last Jedi. Like, I have emails just of people like, "Hey, I hated that movie. Let me rewrite it." And they write like 10 pages of stuff. And I'm not mad because what they wrote is better than the actual movie.
True.
But at the same time, man, I understand you're just like, wow, this is a lot that I have taken on. So, been there.
Well, you're fortunate. The amount of Star Wars fan fiction or Star Wars rewrite scripts that I have been sent have been worse than the actual live action stuff. But that's why I always reply back, "Hey, man, the ideas you put down in here, just make it your own sci-fi thing, because it'll actually stand out far more better than trying to be a Star Wars thing." Heck,
Better.
As much as a lot of people love the books, and I have a handful of favorites of like EU novels that I enjoy, I will say that the EU has gotten so convoluted and also so off the track of what the original trilogy kind of established that it's I completely understand why Disney wanted to shutter it, but at the same time, I also realize that it's like a parallel Star Wars in and of itself that's really pretty entertaining prior to what Disney did by scrapping it and then basically grave robbing it afterwards.
Well, they started a la carting the EU, right? With grabbing the things like, "Oh, I'm going to use this and present it as my idea," and they just do a worse version of it.
I mean, even George Lucas, one of the things that I was really bothered by him, especially once he started doing the prequel trilogy, is that he would sign off on writers saying Jedi are supposed to be stoic and emotionless. Yet the 2 main Jedi we see, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, they have emotions. They're just disciplined and they're wise, but they still have fun. They still tell jokes. They still have a heart. And yet you get some interpretations of Luke where he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to be stoic and not really show many emotions unless I'm really, really, really pushed." And then on top of that, like, I love the Thrawn trilogy, but Han Solo is not Han Solo in that.
Thank you. So I like the Thrawn trilogy, but I've recently gone back to listen to like the expanded audio editions on Audible with the music and the sound effects. And Han's my favorite
those are
character.
fun. All the extra production, it makes it really cool.
It does,
I think that's what is needed for like a Star Wars audiobook, because I know people get upset when I say this, but Star Wars isn't just George Lucas. And if it's just George Lucas, it's really kind of shit. Because when you close your eyes and I say think about Star Wars, yes, George Lucas did write on a piece of paper everything that you see, but he didn't design the sounds. He didn't add the music. He didn't do the things that when I think Star Wars, I think of, as much as the story. And that being said, when you put those extra elements with the written words, no matter who wrote the words, you get a Star Wars experience. Like, I think I did Crimson Empire. I was at a bookstore and they had them for $0.25 on cassette. And at the time I was still driving a car with a tape player in it. I remember listening to that on the way to college. Like, it was a full experience and I fucking loved it.
Right on.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, my stuff was falling off my desk.
Nah, you're good. You're good. The kind of those extra production, adding sound effects, and even in some cases like a full voice cast, those can be really fun, right? Because there are wonderful narrators out there for audiobooks. Like, I'm about to finish. Well, I'm a little over halfway through Deathly Hallows for the Stephen Fry version of them. I've gone through the Jim Dale ones a half dozen times, but I'm in the process of going through the Stephen Fry ones because I have all those as well. Because I'm not allowing myself to start the new full cast audio edition ones that they just released or just started releasing like last month. I'm not allowing myself to start that until I finish the Stephen Fry ones, and he does a fantastic job, but I am really excited for that extra layer of immersion that all of the added sound effects and the different dedicated voice actors for each of the characters will bring, especially now knowing like the cast. I'm like really excited, and I don't have any Star Wars audiobooks that have like any like full cast ones. I don't know if there are any, but all the ones that I own do have like that extra level of production with the sound effects and the music and the
I think there's
ambiance
some
and all
with
that.
Billy D. Williams in them.
Are there really?
I think
Yeah,
so,
it's weird. Like, he is a star, but he's done more Star Wars shit than people realize. Like, you think every time it's Lando, it's some voice actor. He showed up a couple of times. I think he even did the voice for the radio drama back in the day.
He
And
did
not
that.
all
He
the
lent his
actors.
voice to the video games.
Yeah. See, Lando is a missed opportunity because you stuck him with Dong Lover, who's kind of he's sick, so I won't say anything about him, but like, he's not my cup of tea. I don't think he's funny, and I don't think he can carry himself like Billy D. Williams. He just kind of had a parody. But like, if Disney was so hard on this diversity train, I'd have bought The Adventures of Lando Calrissian yesterday. Like, I don't care that he's black. He's a cool character. And that's where Disney could have,
Nobody ever cared that he was black.
No, he's just a bitchin' dude.
Yeah, everybody just thought he was suave as shit, right?
I will say
he
though,
is.
the one white dude that outcools Billy D. Williams is Harrison Ford. Like,
Well,
I won't,
because
I
because
won't
it's
back
Han
down on
Solo,
that one.
right? That's
It's Harrison Ford.
that's the reason for that.
All right, so folks in the chat, keep on sending in your hitting that like button for us. We're going to read your messages, and then we're going to start tonight's show. So, Georgian, member for 33 months. You can't see me put up my fingers because I'm not on cam tonight because I didn't really feel like shaving. Sorry. We won't be up for the stream tonight because of work. Coworker ruined a bunch of stuff by forgetting the letter R on a document and had to fix the F up. Ooh. Asking the panel, did you hear Hasbro recently destroyed their toy archives?
Really?
Georgian. I started looking into this. I have a couple articles and links to Reddit posts. So I'm going to go jump into this a little deeper and make a video. It happened 13 days ago, but apparently during their move, they dumped their archives, which had like rare Transformers and all kinds of unreleased and unmade shit.
Oh,
So,
No.
Oh,
You
idiots.
could at least auction that stuff. Why destroy it?
That's a boneheaded move. If I
No,
ever
that has
heard
to have
of
been
one.
by like accident or negligence.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like, have you seen what Hasbro does? Like, they do dumb shit.
Well,
we're not gonna-
recently, yeah.
The last couple of years, and they keep going in directions that are antithetical to business. And you might think, well, how does this guy know? Well, I'll tell you this. I know that $100 for a 3 3/4 inch Tron action figure is a ripoff.
Yes.
So
Ooh.
Hasbro isn't making the right decisions. And
Oh.
all the recolored figures you want to sell me, it's like, here's regular Wolverine and slightly less yellow and blue Wolverine, and the same figure as brown and orange Wolverine. Like, I love to buy
That's
the same
awesome.
shit that looks better, but man, Hasbro can kiss my ass this year. They've just been
That's
crap.
terrible. What
Yeah,
the
well,
heck?
I'll look into it, and it's sad, but it's also kind of poetic. To quote a great man, it's like poetry; it rhymes. A couple of years back, I was making videos about how people were dumping that unsold crap into landfills, and I had videos of them chopping it up and destroying it. And now they're allegedly destroying the good shit. So I'll make a video about that this week, folks. Join me on maybe Thursday, because I got something a little different tomorrow. You said you wanted to know a little more about me, so I got a video like that. I filmed it today.
All right.
Oh, dude, I got art from like grade school out and shit because I said I would do all that stuff to promote the book. And next Thursday, I can't believe I'm committing to this, but I already made commitments in my private life to close out the book and to do strong. I'm doing a stream from 8 to 8 next week. So join me for a 12-hour super stream. I'm gonna,
Oh, jeez.
I've done those before, but I'm going to get co-hosts. I'm going to try to line up at least people every couple hours so I have somebody to talk to. But we're going to make it strange and weird and fun, and we're going to promote this book and cross some more goals. So join me next Wednesday. Anytime. I'll be here. Anytime.
Golly.
That's a great way to pitch it. I'll join me next Wednesday anytime.
I'll be there. Yeah, exactly.
I'll be there.
Anytime
Oh,
half of the world is awake, right?
yeah.
It's like Jeff Hicks standing outside the Quick Stop, just
Dude, I have a picture of me standing outside the Quick Stop. So
that's the thumbnail.
I misspoke, folks. That's actually going to be next Thursday, not Wednesday. So join me next Thursday for that. And then I'll take a break for dinner, and then I'll do the WCBS show, or maybe we'll just do it into there. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You're
But anyway.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm crazy, but it'll be fun. I've done these streams, like we did Halloween 2018, not the movie, but the year. We streamed from 11 till like 2 in the morning. That was back when YouTube, 11 a.m., not 11 p.m.
No, I figured that.
That's back when YouTube had 8-hour limits on their streams. We had to make multiple streams and hangouts to do that. Yeah.
What the hell?
I miss the old days of YouTube. I'm not going to lie. They keep changing the platform to a point where it's not even that fun. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's too many more hoops you have to jump through to make it fun. So
Yeah.
Because you had said, Jared, about starting out in 2020, and in the last 5 years, it's changed like crazy. But like the pre-pandemic stuff, YouTube was a different beast. The internet was a different beast. People were different. But let me get off my Apple box because I'm tall enough and I don't need to preach. Anyway, the word of the day is eggnog. Debbie does eggnog. Deep eggnog horizon. How Stella got deep nog horizon. How Stella got her eggnog back. Eggnog man and fistful of eggnog.
Eggnog is coming to town.
Ooh,
That's not
that should
bad.
just be a commercial.
Eggnog
National
all the way.
National Lampoon's Eggnog Vacation.
Ernest saves eggnog. Or eggnog saves Christmas.
It does, and that's why it's the winner.
Yeah, for a few eggnogs more. Yeah.
My mother, the eggnog. Script, I would make $1 bet. You're the only person on this panel, and maybe even in the chat, that has watched or at least is well aware of My Mother the Car.
No, I know about My Mother the Car. I've seen this.
So bad.
It's horrible.
Dude, where's my eggnog? Speaking
Coming
of that.
right up, bro. Let's see. We'll each do one more.
Andrei
Pee-wee-
Tartakovsky's eggnog. Just
What? Okay. All right.
Pee-wee's Big Eggnog. Or no, Pee-wee's Eggnog Adventure.
Gosh, the Chronicles of Eggnog.
that's not bad, actually. That's pretty...
The Nutmeg, the Witch in the Wardrobe.
Yep.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Do you guys actually like eggnog, or is it just a holiday?
I do.
drink? Oh, you do?
I do.
Not
yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Do you spike it?
Nope. I just have it straight.
I have it every once in a while. It's all right. Sometimes I have a taste for it. Sometimes I don't. But yeah,
I'd rather have hard cider, personally.
hard cider is pretty good.
Oh, dude, hard cider's delicious all the time.
Like good hard cider. Like that's
I used to like Magners. That was my jam back in the day.
there was one Christmas when I was back still living in California. Me and a few friends, we wound up going up to the Tahoe area and stayed the weekend there, do snow stuff. And we made like homemade hard cider. And let me tell you, it was delicious. It was also really strong.
That's the best kind.
Like you taste it and you're like, oh, that is definitely not just apple cider.
You didn't go blind, did you?
No, I did not go.
Okay,
blind.
good.
I can still see.
Oh, that's good. I
Yeah,
think the orange juice. I have to
These
say
aren't
is, like,
corrective.
yeah, I think the orange juice I'm drinking today is spiked because I have this Listerine aftertaste to it.
Yeah.
And I got this from Florida. A buddy of mine shipped it up to me.
Oh. Have you ever had one of those rum cakes from Florida? Those are pretty solid.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, I could gain 40 pounds eating some of those.
I probably have gained 40 pounds, but not from eating those. No, thank you, Shrebels08, for bringing us the word of the day. And Room of Requirement class says suave as shit. Yes, that is my new saying here on the channel. You're suave as shit. It's a compliment. Stay world class. So, Script, you have worked with movies over the years. I'm trying to come up with a different way to say it, but Script knows movies. Script knows entertainment. Script's been involved with this stuff. So one thing I like to do on the channel is to always have somebody that knows what they're talking about when we're having a subject here on the channel. Because the last thing I want to do is just spout off a bunch of bullshit that's not world class. So as I get this image up, we are going to talk about Warner Brothers. Now, folks, if you follow us on Twitter at the World Class BS, you have direct access to us. And one of the things that I've been tagged about fairly regularly over the last few weeks is this Warner Brothers sale. And I thought, the news is a little light. You really don't want to hear us talk about Stranger Things. So I figured we'll talk about the Warner Brothers sale. So I have some compiled data, and we're going to talk about that. So let me give you a quick overview of the situation for those who don't know. But the Warner Brothers media conglomerate is trying to sell because they have amassed $34 billion in debt.
They have actually the lowest debt out of all the studios. They're actually not trying to sell. What they're doing is that someone is interested in their company and they are legally obliged to entertain a bidding offer. And this has now opened up competitors to want to try and get the studio because Warner Brothers has taken the crown away from Disney, which is actually on the path to save the entire entertainment industry, unless the wrong company buys them.
See, that's what this whole thing, or how this whole thing confused me, because I thought Warner Brothers was doing well. And it was like, Superman. I know some people don't like it because it's not the Snyder Cut, but it wasn't a flop of a movie. The Barbie movie made $1 billion last year.
You had close to $1 billion for Minecraft. You have Dune Part 2. You got Willy Wonka. They've been doing pretty good the last few years. That's why people are interested in buying them.
So you brought up a couple of people that are trying to court Warner Brothers. Some of the names that have popped up are Paramount, Skydance, Netflix, Comcast, and then there's the one that I don't ever want to happen, and that'd be Saudi Arabia, because it's kind of basic. But
Saudi Arabia has partnership investments with Skydance, Paramount, and Comcast in order to acquire a controlling interest in Warner Brothers.
So, Script, the reason I'm very hesitant with any kind of Saudi involvement isn't because I'm this diehard patriot, isn't because I'm angry about some shit that happened decades ago. It's the Saudis have had a vested interest in pro wrestling, and wrestling has changed to court certain Saudi, favors. And I don't like how it's become. It's become so fake and cheesy. And I get this. This is pro wrestling. This is me talking about it. But it's like overly commercialized, and it's trying to like paint Saudi as a different place and all these other things. And I really don't want that to happen to Warner Brothers. Like, I'm not saying that you need to have a Superman movie that like dumps on the Middle East, but I also don't want to watch a Superman movie where he like flies over somewhere and they're not that bad or this or that.
He rescues all the oil fields so that the royal family over there doesn't lose their immense wealth.
Exactly.
I'm Superman and I approve the royal family.
Exactly.
It's exactly how it would go down. So that's been my hesitation.
Truth, justice, and big oil.
Yeah. I want that on a t-shirt. It's the American way.
Hey,
I mean, kind of
DC was always
interchangeable
trying
at
to
this point,
change
right?
it, so there you go.
Super Exxon Man.
There we go. So that's the basic thing. But in October, this first sale started to process. November 20th, we had the first non-round bidding from Paramount, Skydance, Netflix, and Comcast. And on December 1st, we had a second round bidding, and Netflix was mostly a cash offer. So who do you think, Script, is the right and who do you think is the wrong person to kind of take over for Warner Brothers? Because like you said, they've been successful, they've been making money, and they're on track to save a lot of stuff in the entertainment industry.
Okay, so this is a really complicated aspect of it. So David Zaslav is required in his position to entertain the best bid that benefits the stockholders and, of course, the possible future of the studio. Right now, he does not want anything less than approximately $30 a share, and he is also most likely not going to sell Warner Brothers for anything less than $75 billion because that's what Disney paid to acquire for Fox. And the value of Warner Brothers plus their IP far exceeds that of $75 billion. Right now, not a single prospect has reached a $75 billion bid, and I don't think they're going to. And as a result, it would then be in the like David Zaslav could pull in the interest saying, well, Since the bid was not competitive enough to previous sales acquisitions, it is in the best interest of Warner Brothers to retain current ownership to increase its current market share and stock price value because it is starting to go up. That's going to be a tough argument for him to make because there's a number of investors in Warner Brothers that would love to just take the money and run type of deal. And the other part too is he has to secure the best deal, and if he's put in these parameters, I'd say that's a pretty good deal, which means the only way Warner Brothers is going to be acquired in theory is if someone gives him $80 billion for the company, or somewhere between 45 or 50 billion for enough of the company so that can be split off into two divisions. But it's going to be tough. And even if one of the parties that does make the bid is in good standing with the current federal administration or the executive branch, there are a lot of judges in antitrust law that are very regretful of the initial Disney acquisition of 20th Century Fox, and they're going to be incredibly hesitant to do so. And then the other part is that you're still looking at a minimum of three years for all the paperwork and all the proper organizations and delineations and divestments required to go through. So this is not going to be a one-time thing. Yeah, it's tough. I would say, as horrible as it is to point out, Netflix is probably the lesser of the main evils right now because they're primarily an American company. They have a massive value in their stock share, but they also are hemorrhaging money, so they have to take out a loan in order to buy Warner Brothers, which is why they're doing a cash offer, and they're not doing stock options or stock trades because they want to retain that individual value for themselves. Don't want to have to share it. Skydance Paramount, that shrinks the studio significantly. And then same thing with Comcast. And again, because both of them would have silent partners in the Saudi Arabia part, that leads to potential influence in the outcome of how their narratives are going to be done, even though they'll put in stopgaps to say, oh, no, we're not doing that. But the stopgaps will be superficial. If the Saudis say, yeah, we want this type of movie or we want this type of thing, and you're going to do it, they will find a way to get it in there to appease them because there's high stakeholders within the company.
And that's what I've been seeing with wrestling. I mean, again, different entertainment beasts, but like I see Saudi Arabia commercials in the middle of like a show about John Cena, and I go, this doesn't fit. I get that you run commercials. Every show has commercials, but it's that weird Saudi interest that it's like always set my spidey sense off. And I dread that for movies. But, I don't want Warner Brothers to really sell because I kind of like where they're going because of their big movies that you mentioned, Script, I've gone out to see most of them and I've enjoyed most of them. I didn't like Barbie, but I'm a guy, so it's really not for me. But or Minecraft because I'm not a kid. But a lot of the other stuff that I've gone out to see, I have not regretted it. So Warner Brothers is kind of like, I wouldn't say they're my favorite, but if you go out in my film library in the living room, I have so many other films. I think they have a strong library, and I really don't want to see them, I don't know, be bought up. I don't think there's even a reason to buy them.
No, I mean, Comcast will definitely not be able to secure a deal because they would then own 2/3 of all music in the world that exists.
Wow.
So that's going to prevent them from doing that. Skydance Paramount has a stronger chance, but again, we've now gone from we're at 4 real studios in Disney, and if Skydance Paramount buys out Warner Brothers, that puts us down to 3 major studios in Disney. So and then you're looking at anywhere between 20 to 80,000 jobs gone. Because when you consolidate a studio, you have redundancies, you get rid of those redundancies, you then now have a massive wave of unemployment from that company. And it's not just going to be localized to California, it's going to be across the state because Warner Brothers has offices all over the country and even in Canada. Some of their original offices when they founded the company, which was founded in Canada, and then they expanded to the United States and reincorporated there. It's going to make some pretty nasty waves. There is also a possibility that the Warner Brothers studio itself isn't what's sold, but it's really just their cable news network system. So CNN and all their other news divisions would be sold and the rest of the studio would be remained. So that's an option. or vice versa, where the rest of the cable networks will be its own entity, and then the studio would go into ownership of one of the contending bidders. I really wish there was another bidder that was not another studio and not the Saudis that was entertaining this, because there's a handful of people out there that could buy Warner Brothers that aren't a studio or don't have an entertainment foothold, which would make the sale alarmingly easier on the paperwork side of things.
Who would you like to see?
What about Apple?
No, because Apple's already got a studio. That makes still for a conflict. But I mean, oddly enough, the initial plan years ago was when AT&T bought Warner Brothers and they couldn't fix it up themselves. They decided to sell a controlling interest to Discovery for the merger, so that Discovery, by way of David Zaslav, would fix up the company. Then AT&T would then rebuy their controlling interest and then divest out Discovery back to what it was before, and essentially just let the studio run on its new formula. Doesn't look like AT&T is interested in that right now. My understanding from some of the wordings I've heard over the last few months is that AT&T, which still has a connection to Warner Brothers because they are a joint effort with the service provider and the studio, the success threshold that they need for Warner Brothers hasn't reached the goal that they want before they would actually rebuy into a controlling interest again. So, and then with the stock market going up, with Warner Brothers' success, with the anticipation for the 2026 and 2027 year that they have in store for audiences, yeah, it's going to be David Zaslav, and that studio is in a really good position to ask for an extremely large amount of money. And I don't know if there's any single individual company that could possibly meet that request. And I think I'm not 100% certain on this, and I could be very, very wrong, but I think Zaslav is using this to drive up the stock price to where it should be, because for the last 2.5 years, the market has been suppressing the growth of the stock price for Warner Brothers stock since Zaslav took over, because it was around between $7 and $8 for 2.5 years, and now I think it's getting close to $20 a share. And that's only because people entertain the idea of buying the studio.
Right.
And again, nobody buys anything in corporations if the corporations are suffering. They buy them when they're doing really well because they want that success. And they're also, when doing that, you also put them at risk of losing that success, because new ownership is never as good as the ownership that's forging their own path.
I'm glad we're
makes
talking
sense.
about this, because one, we can give some world-class content, and two, I can get a better grasp of it all, because I've been a little busy. So I'm glad that you told me more about it. Script, is this something that's a pretty big deal among like people that work in the industry that or are they just kind of like, eh?
No, we're all worried about it, because when that gets merged, a lot of jobs are gone. A lot of productions are going to be gone. It's going to take a few years. In fact, they'll probably, so this summer, ACTRA and the WGA, SAG-AFTRA and the WGA have to renegotiate their contracts. So always there's a possibility of a strike because, the industry has changed significantly in the last 3 years. It's slimmed down it needed to slim down. It was bloated, obese, overweight. And they needed to purge the unhealthy fat, which we would call like the DEI and the woke stuff. And they have. I posted on X just last week. You could take a look at some of the worst shows ever to air on television, and you can take a look at the history of those writers, and you will see that none of them have been working for at least a year. And that's a good thing. We don't want them anymore. The other part that's also kind of proof in the pudding is for the first time since the strike, I have worked about 70% more than I normally do. And I'm a Canadian screenwriter who works in the industry. That's telling. Because even Hollywood has a bias. They like to hire more Americans than they do internationals. Or if you're just, do exactly what they need you to do, you get on the top list. And I've been very, very happy about that. So yeah, it's a weird atmosphere right now, but yeah, people are concerned because if two studios merge, it doesn't mean double the content. It means half the content. And the other part that's also coming to light right now is people are realizing in the industry that when you have a streaming service as part of your output, you are no longer beholden to the 12-hour broadcast cycle that we used to have with network. And that means that you have 12 hours of fictional material, and then you've got 6 hours of like news and general entertainment, like news and radio and talk shows. And now that you're in streaming, it's like, well, you don't have that 12-hour. You have to have something new every hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, global market, which means it's really hard to pump out that amount of stuff and still be able to have audience retention. So the question being is, what's the studio to do? And as far as I know, nobody in the top head has a really good idea. A lot of people in my tier and a couple of tiers above me and a couple of tiers below all have the same one, which is convert the streaming delivery method into appointment television or on-demand appointment television. So you have your release dates, and then you can watch it whenever you want afterwards, kind of like what Hulu was doing for a while there. So repeat that model over and over, and then accept the fact that, number one, you're going to have to offer it for very, very cheap as a subscription status and have commercials in between, and ideally have good enough shows that you get bidding wars for advertisers for those commercials. And then the next big step is trying to get 22 episode orders per season, whether it's a sitcom or a hour-long drama. Now, sitcoms have kind of bounced between 13 and 22 ever since streaming dropped. Like they're kind of haven't really changed so much, but hour-long dramas, with the exception of a few that are on network, are usually between 8 and 13 episodes a season. And that's not sustainable in the industry for anyone, whether it's grips, gaffers, IATSE crew, writers, actors, directors. If you're only doing, 8 to 10 episodes or 8 to 13 episodes, that's essentially 13 weeks of work, give or take, maybe 20 if you decide to go 8-day shoots for your hour-long dramas instead of 5. And after that, you're out hunting for a job again, where if you had 22 episode season order, that's 35 weeks ish or 40 weeks of the year. And you only have 12 weeks where you're off before you come back for a follow-up season. And that's very doable. And that's where the industry survives. So, yeah, that's probably going to be on the docket for negotiating with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA, saying like, if we're doing streaming stuff or we're doing still network, episode orders for continuing series, so not miniseries or not specials, should be, between 22 and 25 episodes a season.
Now, I know this is kind of a basic bitch question, but if it gets sold, do you think DC continues on the way it does? Because was it you that mentioned they might just not? Maybe it was Aaron. I was somewhere where they're like, if they get sold, they might just stop publishing books and only focus on movies.
Well, I mean, publishing in the comics right now is a little all over the place, because I was just at my LCS the other day, and for them, they've seen an increase in traffic that they weren't expecting.
Good.
Like just the last couple months.
I can confirm that, because I go to my LCS on my way home from the warehouse / office every single Wednesday. And this year, especially like the back half of this year, my LCS has been way busier than it was like the 6 to 8 months prior that I'd been going there.
Especially on the DC side, because you have the Absolute universe going on that's like bringing everyone in. And the thing about if the sale would affect the books, I've never really been on the, it's going to like lead to major change to DC Comics, because here's why. Yes, comics are up in terms of like more people are buying and reading books. When you look at the like itemization of the like how much cash like DC Comics brings in, it's not that much. So I'm more on the side of the other company, is that whoever buys DC is going to be like, okay, you know what? You guys seem to know what you're doing. Keep doing it.
I would hope that's the case, because even though, for decades, the common vernacular has been print is dead, it still manages to survive. It still manages to hold on. There's a lot of ease to getting trademarks and publications renewed through print that's harder to do through film and television. So I think they would keep it that way. Regarding DC Studios, whatever outcome happens, if it's a sale for Warner Brothers, it's going to outlast that sale is not going to actually change hands until long after James Gunn's contract is over.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still going to be able to do the next couple of things without any issues. Given the current success of Superman, oddly enough, Peacemaker season 2 and Creature Commandos, Warner Brothers is really happy with them, and it's likely that he's going to get an extension for another 3 years on that. And then by that time, Warner Brothers might have changed hands by the end of that 3 years, and we'll see what happens. Now, I do know that there's a great portion of the audience out there that says, well, how could Superman be a success if it makes less money globally compared to Man of Steel? And I have to remind them that market from 14 years ago is vastly different than the market today. Like, there was no streaming 14 years ago that dominated people's attention and what to do, where to go, where to see stuff. And then on top of that, also, they spent significantly less on Superman, James Gunn Superman, than they did on Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. So that their margins were a lot better. And then on top of that, their releasing window that David Zaslav has enacted for all of Warner Brothers films, closer to the old school model, and it is netting them a lot of above the line profit. So it may not be the box office that they were hoping for, but the distribution windows have been pulling in far more than they expected. So they're pretty happy.
And it was actually an enjoyable film.
That too.
Yeah, it was fun. I left the theater. I was like walking out in the theater, smiling with my bucket of popcorn. I was like, I had a good time.
Saw it twice.
Good time.
And I'm looking forward to Supergirl, mostly for Lobo. Mm-hmm. But some of the stuff that I've been privy to says that it's definitely inspired by Woman of Tomorrow, but it has its own flavor to it, which I think is probably to its benefit, because I've read Woman of Tomorrow. And
the furthest you go away from Woman of Tomorrow and Tom King's work, the better.
But yeah, exactly, Andrew, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, yeah, Woman of Tomorrow Tom King is a very pretentious up his own ass writer. So
as a Wonder Woman fan, trust me, I'm well aware.
I bet you are, man.
I'm well aware.
As a DC Comics fan, I'm well aware.
Yeah, exactly.
In general,
exactly.
There's not a. It's funny. There was a post that I saw on X a few days ago, and my buddy Spencer, who's my co-host of our Foil Variant Thursday Night New Comic Book Review podcast, in the chat, I sent it to him, because it was a bunch of characters, and it was like, it was one of those things where it was like putting a character per month of the year, and then like saying, describe your birthday month without naming the character. Right.
I know where this
and
is going.
my response was, because mine was Wonder Woman, actually. It was on September, and my response was, I initially was going to respond with ruined by Tom King, and then I realized that didn't really narrow things down, because all the characters, or most of the characters that were on that graph, had all been touched by him, and he had done an abysmal job with. It was fun.
Ruined is the most generous thing you can say about what that man has done to Tom King. Let me put it this way. He basically, it is almost as if, let me put it this way, his run on Wonder Woman is now worth toilet paper.
That used to be expensive.
And I was going to say, we're not talking COVID toilet paper either.
No. No.
I just don't know how these people keep getting work.
He's ex-CIA. He's got freaking, and there's also some nepotism going on as well. Because
that's how he got the job at WB.
Yeah, his mother was involved in with Warner, right?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, he purloined his CIA connections and to get into writing at DC, and then because DC has been a subsidiary of Warner Brothers for a while, and his mom had worked there, he was able to bridge that gap. The other part too is that some of the stories that he has written, not all, of course, but a couple of them do have some throwbacks to the Silver Age and Bronze Age, and that is the area that James Gunn absolutely loves, and he's trying to emulate.
That's why.
and yeah, because when you read Woman of Tomorrow, you're like, oh, this is like a Silver Age story of a version of Supergirl in this part, but it's all about waiting and traveling pointlessly.
Well, the other thing is, like, when you read any of his books, inevitably you'll find a story he has ripped off.
Yeah.
Inevitably you'll find it.
Well, I mean, even his Batman Catwoman wedding, it was basically a perversion of the one that was done for like what, Earth 2 or something back in the late 60s, early 70s. So I was just waiting for him to be like, which one's going to have cancer and die? And he
all of
got pulled
them.
out of them. Yeah.
I just wanted to know, because every time we have a show, I'd say guaranteed every other week, Tom King comes up in a negative way.
I don't.
That's
The only time
because
to be
I'm
positive
here,
is if
Jeff.
he's fired from something.
Yeah, that's the only time you're going to hear anything positive about it.
Like the guy blocked me. Like my
I'm just
real Twitter account
waiting.
and my Script Doctor X account. Tom King has blocked me both.
He blocked me because I started the hashtag to have him thrown off of Wonder Woman. But the interesting thing about it is that he did tell someone close to me that he's gonna be, that he may be leaving the Wonder Woman book soon because of his DCU workload. So ironically, giving him more work is leading to him getting off Wonder Woman. Isn't that the best?
Yeah, that's pretty good. But he's at most only going to get a story or development credit at the studio because some of the people that I know that are over there saying his screenplay treatments are terrible. Like
Really?
they like their ideas, but they hate how he executes them.
That's normally the way Tom King's writing is, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
It's like some ideas he has are actually pretty decent. It's just when he actually writes it, I'm like, the hell was this?
Yeah, you should have pitched this to somebody who can actually write it well.
Well, I mean, that seems to be how it's going for him, right? Even the entire creative team that James Gunn has put together, they're mostly people that are pitching ideas and help shaping things, and then competent screenwriters coming in to make it work in proper form. Like again, that's why they incorporated Lobo into Woman of Tomorrow. He's not in that book.
No,
but
he's
you
not.
need something-
And
you need
according to
something
Tom King, he was
action.
originally meant to be. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah, sure, Tom King. Yeah, you know how to write Lobo just as well as you know how to write any other DC character.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the best, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. So
in short, he doesn't.
That's the other part too. Like the stuff that I'm hearing is that it's like a buddy cop road trip. It does have a mission to it, but it's also supposed to be on a much more contained time frame because like Woman of Tomorrow takes place over months. Because it's like we're gonna have a whole issue where they're just being ferried by a starship, and then eventually they come towards like a yellow sun. So Kara now gets regenerated, but she's too far away, so it's slow. And she can still get hurt by a sword or alien weapon or some crap.
And she can still be drunk because Tom King can only write drunk assholes.
See, yeah, exactly. However, for Supergirl, I have no problem with her grieving through alcoholism over the fact that she's lost her entire species. But the rumor that I've heard is that she goes on to an arc where she comes to terms with that, but she's still, she's not fully, in that position. And I think it's great that she's also not going to be just a female version of Superman.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. The other project that has me concerned is Lanterns, because the showrunner has said it's basically just Tom King's version of Green Lanterns, which I'm like, you have no idea how much of a red flag that is.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried about that, but I've also heard some positive things that Nathan Fillion, when he was doing his Guy Gardner stuff, staying very much to the fun part of Guy Gardner, just with way more foul language.
Oh boy.
And I think, again, especially with the way that James Gunn runs his shows and when he uses foul language, it's far more entertaining than it is just abusive and boring. So crossing my fingers, that's how it goes there. I was surprised when they said they were pushing it back again, because they've been wrapped for a while.
Really?
Yeah, because they started shooting Lanterns midway before they were finished shooting Superman. And so like Superman, Peacemaker, and Lanterns were all at least in production at the same time for a period. And I'm wondering if they're working more on the post effects of it. I hope they are.
Well, you kind of have to if it's
that's
Green
the only
Lantern.
thing that's the only thing that I can think of, because you really want to make those hard light
Constructs
emotional
look great.
spectrum constructs look really, really good, and especially if it's a TV series, right? Like usually that's where you see a bit of a dip in in the CGI quality most often, but you can't get away with that with the lanterns. I'm sorry. Like
No.
that's CGI heavy just by way of its very nature. So you have to get that right.
And there were only
and I hope they
7.
do.
There were only, I think, 7 or 8 CGI lantern shots in Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Mhm.
really sparing with that, which is good because I will say the oven mitts looked amazing
Mhm.
on the big screen. And then, of course, the
The,
weird
the
eye
middle
poker.
fingers coming up out of the ground.
Oh yeah, the
Right.
middle fingers were good. but
Favorite
the
part
eye
of the
poker was
movie.
great. The eye poker was like awesome.
It's
Everybody
funny.
in the audience that I saw it with was like, "Oh God!" and then started laughing.
Oh yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Mhm.
I was like, oh gosh, that's gross.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I really do hope it's for special effects because I haven't heard anything with regards to like pickup shots. I've heard about the pickup shots for Supergirl, but it's really just adding some extra bits of Lobo, and it's very very cheap stuff. It's really just like medium shot inserts at the Stagecraft Volume Studio in Atlanta.
Now that's
So-
Jason Momoa, right?
That's Jason Momoa. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and see, aside from removing Tom King's involvement by way of it being
He's
based
at arm's
at
length,
least
essentially.
loosely,
Yeah.
at least loosely based on Woman of Tomorrow, the fact that we have Jason Momoa Lobo, which I will mark to you, I had been saying that's who should have been cast, he should have been cast as since like the first Justice League movie. Like when I first saw the casting for him, I'm like, what are we doing here? This is Lobo. What are we doing here? Right. And then on top of that, Millie Allen,
Millie Alcock? Yeah.
her too. She looked like a perfect Kara.
Mhm.
Aside from like I was a little annoyed, I'll be honest, at like her being kind of drunk and stupid, but like
Bye,
she
bitch.
looked perfect.
Yeah.
And the suit
The suit looked
Looked.
really good.
perfect.
It
I
did
was
look
like,
better on her.
I was
It
like,
did.
oh my gosh, this is that's Kara. Am I finally going to get a good on-screen Kara? Fingers crossed. We'll see. I hope so because I love Kara.
I hope so too. The one thing I would love to have been able to do if I was in the room for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, or Supergirl, I would be like, okay, yes, have Momoa do the role, but get Brad Garrett, who did the first voice of Lobo in Superman the Animated Series, to do the voice. He just has better acting range than Momoa.
Is that really?
I think
saying
Momoa
much,
will pull
though?
it off. I think
Oh, no,
Momoa
I
will
think-
pull
I
it off
think-
just fine.
He'll do it, yeah.
Personality is he literally is Lobo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm just talking shit now.
You're
I think
good.
he's great. Like when I watched Aquaman, that scene when he was drinking with all the dudes in the bar, I'm like, I would definitely hang out and drink with those guys. This. would
Oh,
be a
I'd
lot.
knock back. He's a big fan of Guinness, and I like Guinness. I'd knock back a Guinness or 3 with him.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like I'm on record as I was a big fan of Zach's take on DC. I like Superman and stuff, but it's like I like Jason Momoa's Aquaman because it's like it's the first time Aquaman to me seemed like a badass instead of like, oh, Aquaman, the dude that talks to fish. But it's like, of course, when I see him like cast as Lobo, I'm like, well, of course. I'm like,
Yeah,
It's one of the
that's
few
him.
obvious castings that would actually work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way about Aquaman with you for years. Aquaman, like as a kid, I had watched reruns of the Justice League or Super Friends and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But I always thought of that stupid Family Guy meme when the woman's getting assaulted on the beach and Aquaman's like, "Hey, get off of her! Hey, don't make me send a shark over on you!" And there's like nothing he could do. I was like,
yeah, if you were in the water right now, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah,
Read
that
the
one.
Jeff Johns run on Aquaman. It is
Yep.
that is the badass Aquaman.
Oh, I read
that's the one where
New
Aquaman
52, right?
loses his hand, right?
Yeah,
No,
New
no, no.
52
for a while,
Aquaman
and then he
by
gets
Jeff
the magic
Johns.
water hand, I think, too. Later
That
on.
was
That was pre-52.
post-crisis.
Yeah.
But new. I'm talking about the run that was new for 52, like immediately,
Oh,
because it's like he came out, and that's what a lot of the first Aquaman. Actually, that's what both Aquaman movies are based
Yeah,
on.
they basically used a lot of Jeff Johns' run for those 2 films.
yeah.
Like a
Justin
large
Lin,
part of the storytelling.
Yeah, Justin Lin had a really interesting take. I was talking to one of his executives shortly after the movie came out that work in his little production studio, and he basically said, "Yeah, I decided to take the whole talking to fish thing to be more like his superpower is like listening, being able to listen and communicate, and he wanted to keep that as like a running theme. So
Mhm.
that's why at the end he's just like tells his brother, "Hey, let's talk."
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
that was just him, just like, you know, hitting the nail on the head.
That was a narrative through line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, I don't remember Aquaman 2, but I don't remember hating it. So
I
was
loved
okay.
Aquaman 2. It
was
wasn't as
okay
good
for
as
me.
the first one, but
it
it was
had
still
some-
enjoyable.
The buddy cop moments between the brothers, that's where that movie shined. Like
Yeah.
that movie shined really brightly with that. But the first movie was just overall, I think, far better. It was just a fun movie.
more of a fun movie. The other part, they really did nail the good, the hazing of what brothers do to each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Let's see. We have a message from the audience about DC, but I got to read these in order. Our friend, this is what I like 54, aka Layden Swallow, I believe, says, "Hail! Got paid. Kickstarted a box of goodies. Thank you very much."
Let's go.
Also, passed by Ollie's distribution warehouse in San Antonio the other day, and it reminded me of you fine gentlemen. Well, I know where I need to go to make the biggest Ollie's video ever. I should call them, send them a link to all my shit and say, "Can I come to your distribution warehouse and film all your toys?"
Well, make
Then
a
I can
road
get a
trip
count
out of
on
it,
the
Jeff.
Sherrycopters.
Pass through the Dallas area on your way down. Let's make a road trip out of it.
Buddy, if I'm coming to Texas, I'm going to hang out with you, of course. Like, I'm in the state. I know it's a big state. I've been there.
Yeah, I was
many
going to say
times.
you being in
Kind of a
Texas
large
could
state.
be, yeah, like that could be a 5-hour difference, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm already in the state, I would be a shitty friend if I was like, I'm just going to go back to Cincinnati. Forget your Whataburgers and your giant highways and your 88-ounce steaks, which I need to try to eat one of those. I bet you I could do it. That's the one food challenge I would try because I think I can. But this is what I like 54. Thank you very much for supporting Stealing Solo, folks. The link is in the chat right now. You got a couple days left, and we're going to hear about some more projects in just a little bit. Our friend
Yes,
TLJ
yes.
Screwjob says, can someone please have better marketing for the upcoming DC stuff so people won't say things like Superman gets bloody, not watching first reaction?
Yeah, that'd be great. But I
yeah.
also think I think people have a misconception, unfortunately, because of more modern media. People have a big misconception about who these characters are and the stories that can be told with them. Because Superman getting bloody in some moments doesn't mean Superman's a wimp.
He gets bloody like all the time in the comics. I mean, Death of Superman.
Well, just take a look at a series of comic book covers from, say, 61 all the way to like 93 when they did the Death of Superman. There's so many of them where Superman is in peril, and the whole idea of that is to say, open this book to find out how someone managed to hurt Superman.
Yeah,
that's the gimmick.
I think the problem with the DCU marketing for Superman is like in a lot of the marketing, you just see Superman getting his ass kicked. It's like there wasn't enough of like Superman doing Superman stuff or like him flying or stuff. It was like he gets kicked in the nuts by Ultraman. He falls into like a glacier, and I'm like, not very super.
Well, what you're talking about is the lack of contrast, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's see him do a couple heroic stuff. Then you have that like, fade to black. And then all of a sudden you go on to, the North Pole or the current James Gunn DCU with Antarctic. And then you got Superman impact on there and be like, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Then you cut out.
You got to have that contrast. I think that the issue is those contrast moments in the movie. And I'll give Gunn, and I've said this a million times before, I'm actually not a fan of James Gunn outside of the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, really, and parts of the second too. But I'll give him credit for this. The moments where Superman has those rising above moments in that film feel earned. But you have to watch the film to get to them. There's no like hinting at them in the trailers, unfortunately. But when they show up, they have impact. Right,
like,
where he shows up and
he
saves the woman in the car, right, from the falling building and everything, and then that pulled back shot of him just
rising.
Floating there.
How is that not the last shot of a trailer? Come on,
dude. That was like the most Superman shot I've seen since a Christopher Reeves film, right? And like that was beautiful. And the finale when he's kicking butt next to Crypto and all of that, like. it was just high action, high octane. That was fun. But again, there is something to be said about not having the contrast there for people who aren't familiar with the comics and aren't going to know. Yeah, Superman's going to get his butt kicked sometimes because you can't just have him constantly being on top, right?
I got a question for you real quick, though. Do you think that Superman's invulnerability is a thing that the general populace, not comic book fans and nerds on the internet, are aware of? Because I think your average person that like remembers Superman, like we'll pull my mom, she knows that Superman has weaknesses. So she's not going to go, oh, Superman looks like a chump. Do you think that's something that's more for people that are in the know and a smaller audience, and that like a damaged Superman is just normal? Like Christopher Reeve got hurt. Remember, Miss Tessmacher put that kryptonite chain around his neck and he almost died.
Yeah, but it's like, even if you look at like the marketing for that movie, or like even for that, there was more of the contrast, because I'm not saying Superman being vulnerable is the problem here. I'm saying the disproportionate use of that for the marketing, as opposed
that's
to also
fair.
like Andrew and I said, like even if you look at the first trailer for Man of Steel, it's all him like rising above the challenge. The last shot is him just rocketing into the sky.
Yeah, it was. I mean, personally, I felt that was kind of boring because I'm like, I'm not seeing him do anything. He's just there
but
stoic.
it's like, as opposed to like him getting his ass kicked in the trailers, because the trailers are supposed to get you interested in going to see this movie, and like, I'm gonna see Superman be Superman, and then it's like, the first shot of the trailer, he falls into the glacier. What? It doesn't also help that they also included the shot of Krypto jumping on him and Superman going, ah!
I think
I could relate to that because I grew up.
I was gonna say I have a great peer, who's 96 pounds and actually looks very similar to Krypto. Just he's larger. And I can tell you, when he was a puppy and still 86 pounds, and still bouncing around and pouncing like that, that is a yet to be trained dog that will act like that. So that was something that, and I know a lot of people, there are a lot of people who are not fans of like the Superman comics, and especially not a fan of the whole idea of Krypto. I love the idea of Krypto, and specifically with how Krypto was in that film, I connected with it actually more because of Krypto than I already was going to. And that's just a personal thing because of my own relationship with my dog. Right. That was an extra connecting point for me. And I'm sure Gunn knew that going in because he's a dog person. He loves his dog, right?
Yeah,
it's the reason why Krypto doesn't. Yeah, it's why Krypto in the Superman movie isn't a yellow lab. It's, I forget his dog's breed, but it's that.
Well, it's like even on that, Andrew, it's like I get that. My problem with that is like, the other problem I had with the movie is that Gunn would take a joke like Krypto jumping on Superman and like hurting him per se, and keep repeating that same joke over and over and over again. It's like, if you hear the same joke over and over and over again, it loses the impact, at least in my opinion.
That's a fair point.
It can.
Yeah. Definitely with comedy, I do feel that a great comedy film can be watched many times, and you can get the same jokes over and over, but in the right context, it doesn't matter. But I'm with you. If a movie goes back to the well one too many times, I find myself, the problem is I'll check out and I won't check back in. It's like, I'm expecting that same joke. So I'm just kind of wondering, mind wandering, waiting for more garbage to come up. But I like, I part of the reason I like that movie is I like the suit. Realistically, I like the bright tone. I like a lot of the world building and stuff like that. But like, I don't like James Gunn's music, period. Like, that's just a sentence. I don't like James Gunn's music. I don't like his choices. I think that stupid punk rocker song that played at the end, like, I get it thematically. Maybe Kindness is the real punk rock. But like, I really want a Superman movie to end with dun, 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 and I want to walk out of the theater with goosebumps and go, wow, that was epic. I did leave the theater very happy for Superman both times, but I didn't go like, maybe it's because I'm older too. No, it's not. I went and saw Batman when they re-released it with my buddies, and we like walked out of the theater and we were like jazzed. We're like, holy shit, man, that movie's still awesome.
Well, that's one of the things that's been missing from superhero films since Marvel started, because there was no quintessential theme song to each hero when it came to Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Like they tried with Iron Man.
Iron
and it
Man's
just didn't take.
themes were all just AC/DC, which
Well,
as
yeah,
an
but like
AC/DC fan, I wasn't mad about. But to your point, there was no like, John Williams Superman theme equivalent.
no, they were
right?
trying to play it out with like a little bit of like some rock music that I can't
Yeah.
pronounce his name, but he did it. It didn't take. The only one that did take was Alan Silvestri's Avengers theme, and that I
Yeah.
think had to do with
That
with
theme's
Joss Whedon
great.
pushing for it, and that's the only theme that Marvel has produced. And for whatever reason, and I don't understand why, nobody in the studio system realizes like, hey, that theme is the most played download Marvel superhero or any superhero theme of the 21st century compared to all the
Mhm.
stuff that was made in the 20th century, because there isn't
Yeah.
any themes made in the 20th century. And the biggest hamperage that I found with Superman was that it was slightly over edited and it did not have an actual theatrical score.
Yeah.
Like it was all just music cues.
Yeah.
Like of the original theme and all that stuff, and then a couple of fully played out songs. I will say the Mr. Terrific fight scene to that song was pretty good.
That was well done. I've said this a million times. I'm not a fan of Man of Steel, though I love Henry Cavill's casting. However, Zimmerman's score for that, I adore.
My position on this is that I'm against having to have the Reeves theme for every version of Superman, because it's like I'm of the opinion that each new version of the character should have their own theme, because if you keep using the Christopher Reeve theme, you're not thinking of like Corrin Sweat Superman or like Cavill Superman. You're thinking of Reeves Superman.
Yeah, that's been an issue because like throughout the entire 80s, Warner Brothers had a mandate saying like, yeah, that's the Superman theme. In fact, even for the Ruby Spears cartoon, they used it. When they got when they were doing Superboy with the Salkinds, they used a variation of that. The only time that changed is when CBS was producing with Warner Brothers their Lois and Clark part, and they said, yeah, the Superman theme is great, but we can't properly remix that to a minute-long opening that we need, so we'll just do a brand new one. And then they did, and it worked. And then, of course, they did the same thing for the cartoon show and afterwards. But even Warner Brothers is saying like they own that Superman theme. They own that entire John Williams catalog for Superman. And it is so iconic that they were pushing for saying like, yeah, we think that this would work better to really capture the audience. Like, sure, they'll be thinking about the Reeve thing, but but that's the spirit of what we're trying to recreate over and over again. And I remember when I was at Warner Brothers for a short time, and this was in mid-production of Man of Steel, and the rumblings around the studio was, they're not bringing Hans Zimmerman's being brought in because Christopher Nolan relations, but he's not going to be doing any variation of the John Williams theme. And everybody at the studio is like shocked. It's like, don't people want to know that Superman is here? And he's like, no, they're going to do something great. And all of us placed bets and knew that it was going to be very drony, very minimalistic, and it was. And the other part too is like it's not catchy. I mean, it's a good soundtrack. I mean, Hans Zimmer doesn't make horrible soundtracks except for maybe Dune. Dune. But like again, that's the thing. Like the gimmick is you want a theme, a melody to your hero that is catchy, that is an earworm that sticks in your head, that when you hear it, you immediately associate to the character it represents. And it's really hard to follow up a guy like John Williams when there's only maybe, who is it? Christopher, what's his name? Christopher Drake, who did, he made a Green Lantern theme for 2 Green Lantern themes, actually, one for a cartoon movie. And then I think also he worked on the animated series one, or maybe another part, but he makes some really great original themes. In fact, his Green Lantern theme that I like the most, the melody of it matches the phrase for, in Blackest Night and the Oath. And that's like a smart thing, because all the other ones are like, okay, you could do the name into the song, but he's like, you can't really do Green Lantern into that, too many syllables, too offbeat. But in Brightest Day and Blackest Night, it's a poem, it's already there. So he did the melody for that, and it's amazing. And and Warner Brothers owns that, but I have no idea if Warner Brothers would ever use that for lanterns in the future, because I mean, it didn't catch on with what it was trying to do when it was released on the animated side of things.
Mhm.
You know, I wanted to just chime in real quick. I like the John Williams theme representing all of Superman, but I think there's a key element to a good Superman theme, and they all have it. And I mean the good ones, not all the Superman themes. It's you should be able to say the word Superman with whatever the tune of the song is. So you can do it with the old
Cartoon
Fleischer
one.
cartoon. You can do Superman, do 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 do
Yep.
do do. You can do it with the cartoon from the '90s. You can do it with the John Williams theme. That's it for me. It's just you have to be able to fill in because there should be no words,
Mhm.
and you should
Yep.
just be able to go Superman. At some point, you should be able to sing along with it, kind of like a Spider-Man theme is.
Okay.
Now, I like personally how, because a lot of the characters, they come from a weird era. Like, yeah, technically a lot of Marvel comic characters have theme songs, but they kind of suck. Like the old, what is it? It's not Grand Trey Lawrence because they do the Spider-Man cartoon and that's the best theme. But like that Marvel
Mhm.
superhero show, maybe
Mhm.
when Captain America throws his mighty shield is epic to some, I think it's kind of a word salad when it's all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield. It doesn't really work.
No.
But I do
The
think
Iron
that-
Man theme from the 60s cartoon show, they remixed that for the movie. That worked.
You know what's funny? I didn't notice that was in the movie, and I had that on DVD. That's how old the movie is. I watched it a shitload. But when it came out, when they did the all day, and this makes me laugh, I did the entire MCU marathon, a full 5 films, all of them at once. When they came out, AMC played them all, and when I went through,
Oh, that's right. Leading up to Avengers. Yeah.
it was literally the greatest theater going experience I ever had, dude. We showed up at 9 a.m. at our local AMC, which is part of it's not part of a mall, but it's like kind of a mall. But it's in this big building. And we all lined up and they gave us our little lanyards and they gave us our little Avengers accessories, but every single person was invested. You know, you can go watch like the new Superman. I saw it 2 times and I said that, but the first time I saw it with a group of people that were really into it and it got great reactions. Second time I saw it, the crowd was apathetic and it wasn't as fun. Anytime I watch one of these movies, you see, folks, for me at least, movies are always about emotion. Entertainment is always about emotion. How you feel, good, bad, scared, whatever. It's irrelevant. It's just that you feel something. And I always go back to the movies that either made me laugh the hardest or made me want to cheer or like inspired me to go do something. And I think, to tie it back to the point, a good theme like a John Williams Superman or an epic Batman or some of these themes will inspire people because people are inspired by superheroes. They're heroic. They look up to them. They think, I want to do that or I want to be like that. And I think the music has to hit. And we're in a weird period where we just don't have that anymore. So I'm hoping that like Matt Reeves' Batman theme was pretty solid. I don't like that movie that much, but that music is awesome.
It reminded me a lot of The Empire Strikes Back, personally.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a couple of notes away. Because the Batman theme is dun 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 dun, and the Empire Strikes Back is dun 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 dun. dun. So
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard a song called "You're a Woman" from the '90s script? It literally uses the Empire Strikes Back Imperial March. Like it's not like they don't sample it, but the music's the exact same notes.
Oh, probably have. I do remember some sort of pop song that did that. Might have been them.
It was a long time ago. I think this group was a one-hit wonder, but
yeah. Well, that's the one thing. Like I do. The music composing industry for film and television is really struggling right now because for whatever reason, like the bigger studios, they just don't care. And soundtracks are. I mean, that used to be the entire rage from like 74 to like 2007. Like, I mean, I remember the Lord of the Rings soundtrack just flew off the shelves.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's
one of the hands
every single way. and that's kind of like the last major soundtrack I can think of that was like amazing for a movie. And
Tron Legacy is the one I'll go with.
Well, that's from Daft Punk. Like that is, yeah, that's probably the last. Yeah, because that's 2012, right?
10.
Or 10. Yeah. So there you go. That's probably the last one I can think of off the top of my head. So yeah, I forgot. So thank you, Jeff. Yeah, 2010 Daft Punk, like the Nine Inch Nails Tron Ares soundtrack, forgettable.
Thank you. It's just sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I was really disappointed walking out of that.
Same here, man. Like 7 minutes in the grid. Okay, we didn't get a lot of stuff in the grid, but what we got was like lame. And I get that they're trying to do the nostalgia callbacks where it's, hey guys, remember how you felt watching Tron in the 80s? No, because I wasn't alive. But I get what you're going for.
Remember this 50-year-old actor talking about how cool the 80s was?
I look at Jeff Bridges as the dude, not Kevin Flynn. Like, I would rather watch, to me, when I watch those movies, including Legacy, to me, the dude got sucked into a computer somewhere after the events of the first film, and he's been living in the world, the grid. Like, I believe that
He
the
merged with
clicking
Kevin
up.
Flynn, and they just
Yeah.
became one entity.
Hey, man.
Game one.
Dude, like one of the things that I'm gonna try and do as business kind of slows down for me on the Patreon is I'm gonna do like what if casting in the 80s, because Jeff Bridges would have made an amazing Oliver Queen in 80s.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And Marky Post as Diana Lance.
Hmm.
Perfect pairing for those two.
I like Night Court, so that would have been a good casting choice for me. Sly in the chat says Avengers 1 equals Live to Rise. That song was awesome. I listen to that song every couple months. It'll pop up on YouTube Music, and it makes me, I know the song's called Live to Rise, but it does kind of make me want to stand up. I'm like, yeah, this was an epic movie. Like, say what you will about Disney, I'm the first one to say it. Hell, this channel has tons of videos about that shit. But man, when they did that for, well, it's a Paramount movie, so I guess that's why.
Yeah, it was all Paramount up until after the Avengers.
Good old Iron Man 3, where you can argue that that's when everything started to decline a little bit.
That's an example of good ideas executed poorly, because there were good ideas in there that had the opportunity to really explore Tony's like mental state after Avengers, and it was just not executed well at all.
Well, one of the things is
and the twist with the Mandarin obviously pissed everybody that was a comic book fan off.
Well, that's Disney getting involved. So Disney didn't want to do Mandarin the way Mandarin was, because they didn't want to offend people. I remember that big time. And I remember hearing Shane Black upset about that, because so like RDJ got Shane Black to write Iron Man 3 as a thank you, because Shane Black helped restart Robert Downey's career with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And that's how he was able to get Iron Man. And so he wanted to pay it forward. And I would say like the first almost 2/3 of that film, pretty solid. Like, you know, hits the tone, everything's kind of cool, and then the third act, it gets a little crazy. And then also
then it just starts to feel a little too like, all right, now we're devolving
like it's
into
afraid
like
to commit
goofy
to the bit. Yeah.
It was afraid to take itself seriously, like to commit to taking itself seriously once we get to that third act, right? Like it started putting in. I'm okay with inserting a well-placed, well-timed joke for a little bit of levity, even in a serious situation. Talented writer can do that. Most MCU writers are not that person. So, like, them just putting a whole bunch of goofy stuff in that third act for Iron Man 3, just it crapped all over the film.
It
was like, wow,
the president from the War Machine armor while you're surrounded by all these extremist mutants.
I forgot how lame that scene was.
Yeah.
It's like, are we really doing like?
And
I thought we were taking this seriously.
You waste William Sadler as the president of the United States when he would have been a great successor for a Green Goblin in an MCU.
Yeah. I'd have watched that. I mean, let's be honest, I am going to watch that whenever Spider-Man brings Norman Osborn into the MCU. Well, technically, it brought Willem Dafoe in, but you know what I mean.
I was about to say Willem Dafoe's. No, I can't remember. I haven't seen No Way Home since that first time in theaters, because that movie's actually mid. But
yeah,
didn't he get taken back?
Yeah, they all did.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Now
I
know
was
this
having a
is
brain
stupid
fart for a second there.
I know this is a silly question, but do they go back to their universes to die, or do they undo their deaths now?
That's a good question.
We won't find out until Avengers and Avengers Endgame, I guess.
They're all gonna
whatever
show
the heck
up,
it is. I don't know.
Right?
I just wish I gave a shit.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, everything kind of went off the rails when Disney got rid of their creative committee. And then when Alan Horn overstepped his authority and fired James Gunn, their entire cosmic plot line was then shuttered, because he was the one writing that. And the team that they had working on the Magic and Multiverse plotline decided to be stepped up, and it wasn't ready.
No, it was not.
And that has been the last 6 years of the MCU. It's so yeah, it's and then on top of that, Victoria Alonso was not meeting the expectations of her job. She was then promoted to a fictitious position, which after she was terminated, nobody has stepped in to do her job, which meant it wasn't real, which meant it was always
a fake job.
It was always meant to be as a scapegoat for their failures. And now Marvel has essentially completely left the United States. They're all in the UK right now. And it's allowed for Warner Brothers to occupy those studios that Disney spent billions of dollars making stateside to be able to rent them pennies on the dollar. And so Disney is finally no longer going to be the foothold. The only thing they have going for them right now is a couple of their old properties like Moana, Lilo and Stitch, Avatar, to kind of get their market share kind of in the positive. But they're spending all the money that they're falling into with their pre-sale accounts, with their distribution partner deals internationally. Like it's just burning away so fast, and it's not going into the bottom line or the below the line people. It's all being, I suspect, it's all being pilfered by production above the director and the direct producer of each project. Like all the studio execs that in their office, they're taking their cut, which is tens of millions of dollars a piece. Multiply that by 20 people, and that's why your budgets are like $300 to $700 million for a 2-hour film.
It's ridiculous how much shit is. I don't see that much on film.
At that studio, it's ridiculous. Over at Universal, they're averaging between $80 to $125 million for their tentpole films. Warner Brothers is trying to keep it closer to between $100 and $150 million for their tentpole films. They've been also maximizing their productions, which is why they have a couple of streaming shows coming out at the same time as when they're as a theatrical release. So like whatever's going on with Supergirl, they just wrapped recently. They did shoot something else alongside it, so they maximize their dollars and that also maximize their cast. So I don't know what it is that's coming out. I don't think they shot any Lantern stuff with it, but maybe they did. And they're working on the Waller series, which I think is going to get a new name coming up. Clayface is almost done production, if I'm not mistaken. And Batman 2 still hasn't started anything.
I'm sure.
And the other part too is you will notice that no one's talking about Andy Muschietti anymore when it comes to Batman Brave and the Bold because of his involvement with Welcome to Derry.
You guys watching that?
No.
No.
But
I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with his involvement in the Flash.
Yes, because as soon as the Flash bombed, and they're like, yeah, we're just going to quietly not have him come back, and we're going to make sure that whatever he's working on is going to be interfering with their ability to do Batman so that they can find another creative force behind it.
Really?
The plan.
Yeah. Like, again, studios don't, if a director fails, the studios don't like to give him a second chance right away. They like to say, okay, you go off to your own thing. If you doing your own thing becomes successful, we will bring you back for another project. Because they're not going to keep extending a ladder out there. They're going to say, okay, you screwed up on this one. That happens. Go out, go do your own thing, refine your voice. And if it's successful again, and we know that you're able to make something on your own that can be a hit, we'll bring you back in. We'll put you on to either a studio film, or we'll entertain an idea that you want to do for a movie, and we'll be happy to back you for it. That is basically re-earning your merit, which Chris McGuire had to do after he had a couple of bombs.
Right. And it's fair to say, and I can say this as somebody who's read a lot of comics and watched a decent amount of movies, like sometimes a writer or somebody that's in a lead creative position is a good fit for one thing, but a really bad fit for another.
Tom King.
So that can't, or just bad all around.
He's not blocked. He didn't block me on social media. Should I start the big campaign to get him on the channel so you can ask him questions?
Yes, let's do that, because I made fun of him for him trying to compare himself to Frank Miller And I'm like, number one, Frank Miller's okay. on the
Frank
defense
called
side.
him out. Did you guys hear the story about when? So they were on a Google panel together, and Tom King was talking about how, like, when he writes Batman, he likes to put a lot of himself into Batman. And Frank, being Frank, turns to him and goes, "You're not supposed to put yourself into Batman. You're supposed to write him the way Batman would act, not you."
Which
Bingo.
is
Ironic. 'cause
ironic
Frank Miller
coming
totally
from.
wrote Batman the way Frank Miller would act.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
like, he's really only written Elseworlds Batman. Like, I actually hate what The Dark Knight Returns did for Batman as a whole in terms of in mainstream media. And let's not forget, where is it? This gem.
Dark Knight 3 Master Race.
All-Star Batman and Robin. I knew you were going to pull that out.
Aspar, yeah.
You know, beautiful Jim Lee art, right?
Yep, that's why I bought it.
Absolutely stunning. And I actually go through it annually just to look at the Jim Lee art. But that's a bad Batman book, guys.
Oh yeah, that's the book where Batman bangs Black Canary in the rain on the docks.
While
Yeah,
two
like,
bodies are burning right next to them.
Resident Two Bodies are burning.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Talk about an
I don't
aphrodisiac.
I don't know what he was going through when he wrote that, but he was going
Well,
through something. He had a lot going on.
Poor Frank Miller is an alcoholic and a
Mhm.
drug abuser, and I hope he does get his help. He also got really mind effed after 9/11.
Mm.
And you know, I can't blame him for that. That screwed up a lot of
It
people's
screwed up
lives.
a lot of people.
And
Is that where Holy Terror comes from?
Holy Terror comes from that. Dark
And
Knight
that's
Strikes
where-
Again comes from that, and then
The-
the Dark Knight Returns Master Race comes from that.
9/11 actually influenced the last issue or so of Strikes Again, if I
Yes,
remember
that's right.
correctly. Yeah,
Because it occurred while he was penning the last couple issues.
yeah.
But oh boy, yeah. No, I will say this: I do prefer Frank Miller's Daredevil over his darkest Batman stuff.
Oh yeah.
His
Just-
Daredevil is looked at pretty favorably.
Yeah. What was that one? Born Again? That's
Mhm.
that's like
Born
the best
Again's one of them,
Daredevil
yep.
story.
It's one of the kind of like, if you're a fan of Daredevil or you want to get into Daredevil comics, that's considered like your required reading.
Mhm.
Agreed. I've purchased that in a couple different formats. I think I need to get the I like David Mazzucchelli's artwork. That's really why I like that
Oh, yeah.
story. I mean, if it's not a spoiler to anyone besides you, Andrew, like, I do buy comics for the art first, story second.
I had no idea.
A lot of people do.
You being an artist?
They keep buying every issue of Tom King anytime he writes them because he gets the best artists.
He always gets the best artists. He gets freaking Clayman on so much of his work. and it's
Clayman,
like,
Daniel frickin' Semper.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
I need to look those gentlemen up because I do not know their work off the top
Dude,
of my head.
You'll see it and you'll be like, I know you, and you love like looking at fantastic art and I mean, like, how can I incorporate something like this into what I do to like make my already awesome work somehow even better? And you're gonna look at their art and you're gonna be like, yep, I'm gonna put that over here. I'm gonna keep that up on my screen here, and I'm gonna start working with this because that's some good stuff right there.
You know, I'm looking at it now. It's beautiful stuff, but I don't like modern comic covers because modern
Mhm.
comic covers are static. I mean,
Boring.
they're beautifully drawn, but I like when a cover sells
All
you
of the
the
Wonder
story.
Woman covers are boring as hell, even if
know.
it's got a beautiful artist on it. Like a freaking Wonder Woman from Tom King has a dozen and a half Stanley Lau art germ covers, and I love art germ's work. But I mean, his stuff, it's just pinup stuff, right? He's not doing something that looks.
But what I mean
super
is, like,
action-packed.
everybody draws. Like, I'm just looking at Batman. It's like a very similar. Batman just kind of stands there, and I get it. He's meant to be stoic, but of the covers I'm looking at, maybe two show him in action. I like Batman. I get it that they're trying to make it like an operatic appearance. Very, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't worry about it. But my point is, I get what they're going for. For me, I just would rather have like a Bronze Age Batman who's like diving, you know, at the camera and his cape is flowing. And
I want to see Batman in the midst of like some sort of elaborate supervillain trap. Like,
that's
I
why
those
I like the
adventures.
Greg Capullo covers
Yeah.
because he
Mhm.
featured all of that shit in his art.
Oh, I mean, Greg Capullo's just freaking ridiculously good.
That's one of the
I
only
love
modern guys I
Capullo.
study.
He has me
Mhm.
blocked on Twitter.
Oh.
Sadly, I don't know why.
What
It's
did you do,
probably-
Andrew?
It's probably guilt by association somehow,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I still love his work.
I just followed him today, I think.
See, that's one thing that's comics are missing is that there's a corner of comics, especially at DC, where they've lost the essence of whimsy. And it's all about trying to be super serious, dealing with very allegorical real world issues or something of that nature. Where's the Batman adventure where he's stuck in a giant teacup and there's going to be a giant pot of coffee that's going to boil him alive, as staged by like, the Riddler or something,
or the Mad Hatter,
or the Mad Hatter. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, like where do we get those types of fun stuff? Because that's what made the character of Gotham City interesting, is that it had everything you ever wanted in a city. And so everywhere and anywhere you need to go, anytime you need a certain set piece, you can easily justify it living in Gotham City. And then on top of that, you just had an infrastructure that would allow supervillains to be able to create elaborate traps or elaborate crimes that were so out of the purview of what the police could handle that you would need a Batman to solve it. But if I peruse the last few random issues of main title Batman, it's like, oh, okay, he's going after, a PDF file. Well, cops can do that. It's nice that Batman's contributing, but is that really, of the priority there when you have, say, Bane, tearing down walls at Blackgate Penitentiary to cause a crime wave into the city? Like, there's things that Batman is equipped to do, and then there's things that the police are equipped to do. And one of the things that made Batman interesting is that he was a complement to the police that were doing that were good and honest and trying to do a good job, and he wasn't actually a replacement for them.
Right.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head about, like, we can all understand and agree on what modern evils are, but I don't need to buy comic books about them. I'd rather buy books about aliens that come to Earth and eat people, or void rivals, or random ass shit that I just buy because
alligators living in the sewer,
Transformers.
Yeah. Exactly. All of that stuff. I don't really want to watch Batman take down like real world criminals. That's the problem that I have with deconstructed entertainment across the board. It's irrelevant to comic books. We have to deconstruct and then put our fictional, fantastical heroes in real world settings, what it would be like to really live with them. I don't want to read that. And I never have. And I don't know how many people do. If I'm making stuff that's in a hyper realized world that, of what we live in. It's kind of crazy. Like the world of Wokebusters is the world outside your door with the volume turned up to 11 because it's just crazy the times we live in. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't want to watch Batman fight like the IRS or ICE or any of that shit. Like there was one. Now, it's a little different when I see something like the Punisher go against like a drug cartel or criminal underworld stuff.
Because he's supposed to do that.
Yeah. But Batman has Killer Croc and Clayface and Two-Face and Black Mask.
Scarface.
Scarface. I was going for all the faces. Thank you. But no, they got all these like fantastical things, and he interacts with Superman. He carries a kryptonite sliver in his belt sometimes. Like, it's all.
Or like Wonder Woman. Instead of having her fight like the Secret King of America, how about she fights like the God of War?
I need you to do me a favor, Jared. I need
or the
you to
Demons of Hades.
Yeah, I would read that.
Oh yeah.
All I was gonna say to you is send me some recommendations for Wonder Woman books. I like Wonder Woman, but
read Absolute Wonder Woman.
Read Absolute Wonder Woman #1. Anything with George Perez's name on it, you are good to go, my friend.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I love George Perez.
I will send you a list.
R.I.P. George. Like I always say on the show, I met him years ago. The nicest comic book person ever. And like and a lot of them have been nice. I've been very fortunate to catch people on good days. Even Neil Adams, who wanted to make a bunch of money, was super cool to work for. Like he wasn't a douche about anything.
You walk up to Tom King's table. Hey, you suck.
I look at Tom King even harsher than you guys do, because you look at him as a shitty comic book writer and you make fun of him. He's not even worth my goddamn time. Like, I wouldn't even look at him. If you're like, hey, there's Tom King, I'd go, who gives a shit, and walk right by. Like, I don't even have time to tell him he sucks. And I know this is hypocritical. I'm not reading his work. I'm taking your guys' word for it. Okay. Just not gonna get into it.
Oh, bro. All you have to do is look at anything I put on my channel. Inevitably, Tom King's name and he sucks will be brought up.
I get it. Look at dude. 2013, Jeff. If I had a YouTube channel, I'd have been bitching about Marvel. All new, all different.
The thing is, I do content with Jim from Weird Science, and one of the phrases that we have is that everyone either likes Tom King or or is like indifferent until he writes your favorite character. 3 guesses on which character became my favorite character around the time he started writing her.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna
And
get.
then Absolute comes out, and I'm like, okay, now I have a Wonder Woman book.
Yeah, now you have a good Wonder Woman book. Yeah, I was mostly ambivalent to him for a little while
Until the Wally West thing.
because his first 2 arcs on his DC Rebirth era Batman run were fine. They weren't anything amazing. They were fine. War of Jokes and Riddles was fine. There was nothing like bad about it. It was just like, okay, well, this is a decent story, right? Then a switch flipped, something happened, and everything went right the hell off a cliff. And I wasn't reading the book anymore at that point. That's just what I was hearing and reading.
And then the wedding happened.
And then they did, and then he did Heroes in Crisis.
Ah, yeah, that'll get you.
Nope. This guy can go straight to hell.
Yep. That'll get you.
Character assassinations left and right.
When he has Harley Quinn take out the entire Trinity, and then Superman says, "She's good, Bruce. Probably as good as you." No.
Wait, that actually happened in a comic book? Harley Quinn beat Superman?
He also
Superman,
wrote
Batman, and Wonder Woman at the same time.
He also had Catwoman.
I wish you could see my face right now.
Oh,
he also had Catwoman take out all of the Flashes
at once, and beat Talia al Ghul in a sword fight.
What?
Yeah, script. That's what I'm thinking. What?
Yeah.
That Demon's Head shit is from the classic Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams stuff. Like, that was one of the coolest eras of Batman. That Bronze Age, globe hopping, Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it, globe trotting stuff. That's like prime Batman to me. This jabroni.
Well,
I'm not going to give him the time of day.
The fascinating aspect, especially in the Bronze Age, because Catwoman and Talia al Ghul have actually come to blows, I think, once or twice in the Bronze Age. I think when Catwoman was suffering from cancer before she got cured. But it's always been that Talia was always the better fighter, but for whatever reason, Selina always managed to capture Bruce's heart that Talia couldn't. And that's why she was so much more fiercer when she fought Catwoman.
And then again, it's like King keeps saying, like, he was on my friend's podcast. One of the things he said a lot was, "I know comics," and I go, bro. First off, that's like walking. That's that Andrew, but that's like saying "I know comics" all the time, because he said it on multiple podcasts. That's like me going into any office building saying, "I'm in charge here now."
See, I believe that Tom King knows comics. I just don't believe he understands them.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are 2 different things. Like, I know tons of people that they could quote me various issues and stuff, but if I ask them to explain the nuance to an issue or a character, they just can't process that. And I think Tom King's in that boat.
And DC keeps giving him characters he doesn't understand. Like his Wonder Woman book, I'm convinced he hates Wonder Woman based on the way he's writing her.
Isn't it great to have such contempt for the thing you're paid money to do, and the fans that
I've never been
your
able.
work?
I've never been able to do that, because even whenever I get an assignment to something I've never knew beforehand, and I'd have to research it, I'd usually understand why it was popular and why people like it. And I have quit jobs where I'm like, yeah, I understand how people like this, but I can't deliver what is needed for this to be here. And so I take the money that I earned, and then I walk away. And I'm like, I hope someone else better can do that, because for whatever reason it is, it's like, yeah, I understand it fundamentally. I understand character motivations. I understand the goals and directions. I just don't think I can reinvigorate or recapture the type of voice that the core audience would resonate with for this part. It is out of my wheelhouse for that.
And that's being intellectually honest as a creative, right? Like, and it's one thing to think you know about the character and their history and what makes them tick and what fans enjoy about them. It's another thing to actually know that and be willing to like re-educate yourself just in case. Like, shoot, if I was, it'll never happen. If I was offered the opportunity to write The Flash, right, I would be literally going back through my entire library of The Flash. And when I say my entire library of The Flash, that's all of The Flash up till now, like up until the most recent issues, literally. So, and that's not to say that everything would get utilized, but that's really me wanting to refresh myself of, okay, what are the important things that can be leveraged from here? What were the things, and also cross-checking that with like, how was the fan response to these different eras? What was it that worked? What was it that didn't work? So that I can say, okay, I can maybe pull on this thread a little bit, right? Or say, that's a thread that, you know what, we're gonna tie that off. We're gonna leave that over there. We don't need that here, right? And at the end of the day, if you can't actually deliver on that, if you can't write an honest story that is going to be something of value and not just like playing the greatest hits of somebody else who did it before you and did it better, right? Because there are plenty of writers that try and do that, where it's like, I've read this story before, and the guy that did it before you did it better, right?
Well, I mean, how many
And that's
crisis?
gotta be honest.
How many crisis events have been in DC? Like 7, 8 now? Like they're just
How many actual crises that would be about that led to a reboot? That would probably be 3 or 4.
3 or 4 of that, and then they have their follow-up crises, right? Their post crises events and stuff as well.
And then Flashpoint, and then Dark Crisis, and then blah 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 blah.
Like just beating the same drum, like that's not of any use. One of the things that I've learned about IPs is that you have to look at the 2 variations of fandom. You have the vocal fandom, and then you have the non-vocal fandom. The non-vocal fandom you find out based on numbers and projections. And
how is this thing selling while this person was telling?
Which luckily the King run is selling like shit, as it should.
Yes. And the thing is, there is I do know that there is a vocal fandom of Tom King, and I'm always flabbergasted by that.
Me too.
I don't know if they've actually read his work. They just like him because maybe he's upsetting the core audience of it.
They don't read Wonder Woman. They clearly don't.
They're plants by the Fed, I'm convinced.
Maybe. I mean, he's
they're
got
CIA plants.
But that's one thing that I was looking at for another project. I was looking at, okay, well, what is the audience generally like? So you go on the message boards, you go onto the old chats, you find some stuff on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then you go into the sales run, and then you see completely different numbers. And you're like, well, okay, so the people that are spending the money like this, and the people that I can't prove that they spent the money, but they definitely have a presence on social media like that, I'm more inclined to probably go with the people that are buying the stuff than I am the people that are speaking out. And that's just and it's a harder data to quantify, because you can get the basic numbers, and this is not just with a comic books, but this is in a novel series, paperbacks, pocketbooks, those types of things. And it's you got to go with those numbers, and you have to say, okay, now that I know that they're buying them, what is it about them that they're alluring to, and how do you dig and find that information? That's why I love cons, because you can go to a con, you go find people that are involved in that book, go to the people in line to talk to that person, and ask them their questions about, like, why do you really like this book? Like, tell me what's your favorite part, or those types of things. And you kind of get a better insight into stuff. And that's one of the things that I like doing whenever I get a cool assignment presented my way, because most of the work right now is just assignment stuff. If you want original stuff, you got to put a lot of your own money in it first.
I just need to find a rich Star Wars fan to fund stealing Solo the movie. I know Leonardo DiCaprio likes Star Wars. Folks, if you have a P.O. box for Leonardo DiCaprio's lawyer, send it my way to info@worldclassbullshitters.com, and I will send him the nicest gift package possible.
Actually, I might have a contact to his lawyer. Hold on.
Well, Script, you have my email. Just email it to me. blah@gmail.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
Yeah. Hanson, Jacobson, Teller, Hoberman, Newman, Warren, Richmond, Rush, Collar, Gelman, Meigs, and Fox. That's his attorney.
What? How many damn people? Is that a football team?
It's a huge one in it's a
I
football
think that's
team
the
in
whole
Beverly Hills.
offensive line.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, I'm going to send him a letter. I was joking. Anyway.
Here, it's in the chat.
Dear Leo, please send. Let's see. Shrebbles08 says, I'll take a Pee Wee Herman Jurassic Park button. Well, ask and you shall receive here on the channel. I clicked it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Go ahead and scream your head off! We're miles from where anyone can hear you!
editing on that is insane.
That is so well done. Oh my god.
Goodbye, Newman. I love everything that's involved with that. Troubleswood, thank you very much. Xavier to God, what is up? He says, do you guys prefer crypto being able to talk or no? I'll say no.
I'd rather
talking
not.
dogs
Yeah,
are weird.
I don't need him
I'd
talking.
rather he not be talking. Like, if I enjoy the one-off short story where it's all the super pets and you might get an occasional word or thought bubble there, or maybe they're interacting, but in like the mainline comic books, I don't. No,
I think it's
don't
a
need
little
that.
too far, even in the movies, for the general audience to like really latch on to.
That would be, as somebody who has already professed that I love crypto. That's a bridge too far for me. In like a more serious setting, again, like if we're doing the super pets, yeah, of course, it's fine.
Especially if he sounds like Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
That movie was not on my radar. But like this, I knew it was out. I would not watch it because I don't like Kevin Hart.
That's all right. That's fair.
I just don't find him funny because he was Ace the Bat Hound and The Rock was Crypto, right?
Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves is pretty funny as Batman.
Keanu Reeves is great. I mean, he's on
love
stream
Keanu
right
Reeves.
now. Let's talk about him, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you, Xavier to God. Thank you to everybody for supporting the channel tonight. Do us one more favor. Hit that thumbs up button to let YouTube know that you enjoy this content, and it makes us feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside, too. I don't know why I'm moving my hands like you can see me tonight. So, folks, we're going to start talking about The Matrix. So we're going back to 1999. We're going to give you a plot summary and everything. This is a Matrix podcast. No, it's not. What it is, though, is like you guys, I check social media for interesting stories, things to talk about, things to think about. And so I wanted to talk about this reinterpretation / misinterpretation of The Matrix, because art is subjective and you can always interpret art the way you want to, but it really depends on the consensus of it. I could reinterpret a movie like Die Hard is a commentary on post-Vietnam America, and I'm full of shit, but somebody would listen to me and probably agree.
And think you're a genius.
Yeah, they'll think I'm this next level, like, holy shit, man, everything this guy says is gold. Same thing with like, what's a random ass movie? Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. It's actually a commentary about consumerism, capitalism, culture, and something else.
Post-its.
Like,
That's what it is, about post-its.
That's really what it's about. But long story short, The Matrix has been in discussion again because Lana Wachowski is mad because Red Pill has quote unquote been appropriated by MAGA. And so Lily Wachowski, co-creator of the trilogy, went on record again calling the MAGA Red Pill obsession a classic fascist move. Steal a progressive idea, hollow it out, and turn it into a culture war cudgel. She compared it to the cops slapping Punisher skulls on their patrol cars while completely missing the point of the boys. In her words, fascists appropriate absolutely everything and mutate it until the original meaning is unrecognizable. Oh, like Ghostbusters. But she also said the creators have to let go once the art is out there. People do whatever they want. So what I want to ask you guys is a little broad. Does artistic intent actually matter anymore? And who gets to decide what a story really means when half the internet is convinced that it's secretly written for them? So I have a couple questions here. So first off, and we'll do a round table. We'll start with script, then we'll go to Jared, then we'll close out with Andrew. If a movie's metaphor is completely inverted by a huge audience, like the trans allegory versus the alt-right rallying cry, what point does the new meaning become a valid reading, even if it's opposite of what the creators intended? Because I've never read into trans allegory on The Matrix. But script, what do you think about that first question?
That's a good question, because a good allegory has many different interpretations, and the interpretations are not necessarily antithetical to the intention. I mean, I could definitely see a trans allegory with regards to the first Matrix. It's about understanding an identity. However, there's also another fun aspect of it, which is that you have a third party telling Neo he is the one. He is destined to do this. I'm indoctrinating you to think that you're something that you don't believe yourself to be, until it's beaten so much into you that you start to believe it. So you've got that aspect to it as well. The thing is that culture determines the consensus of art, and that consensus can change with every generation as how the culture changes. So there's really no real wrong interpretation. I mean, heck, the interpretation of the Star Wars trilogy has changed twice in my lifetime. So because it used to just be a simple war allegory with a big empire against a small band of rebels that was very much inspired by Vietnam and the very politicized war of that from the United States and the abuse of U.S. soldiers and so forth. And then it's gone into something more heady. It's gone into how far an individual can be pushed by one person. It's gone into the influence of a religious allegory to fight a very cold and unreligious regime. So yeah, it's got that good art has that versatility, and that's also gives it its lasting power. And I think that's a good thing. And yes, if the Wachowskis are upset that political spectrum that they don't agree with has found meaning in their work, they should hope that in and of themselves, if they keep on looking into that work and looking deeper into that meaning, that maybe their intention will come to the surface and maybe allow them to reevaluate their own points of views, not necessarily change them, but maybe find deeper meaning into them, or maybe find conflicts in them that they want to address and correct within their own ideology.
Well said. Jared.
Yeah, it's one of the things that like I always try to answer my channel is that yeah, you do want to take the writers or creatives' original intent into behind how you interpret the work, because it's like, yeah, you want to know what were they thinking when they were writing it. The thing is like a creative has to understand that once you release a piece of content, whether or not it's like a movie, a comic book, a TV show, anything, it's out of your hands. If the public interprets a story to be a certain way, if enough of them like interpret it to a way that it becomes the mainstream allegory, I got news for you. You have lost all control of that. You could say I didn't intend for that, but look, it's like it's like as you guys said, stuff gets reappraised all the time. Like, look at the X-Men. They used to be like interpreted as just an allegory for like being othered to any degree, and then it was racism, and then it was anti-LGBTQ stuff. Even though in reality it is just like if you're othered in any way, or like Superman. I've heard it said that like Superman's an allegory for like America, or he's an allegory for immigrants, or he's an allegory for blah, 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 blah. It's like, look, it's like, let me put it this way. Alternate interpretations are going to happen. That's just the nature of the internet, because I don't know if you guys know this. The internet's full of opinionated people. And
I had no idea.
I know, right? Have an
This is
opinion.
news to me.
I know. And I'm sorry. That means that there's a good chance that people you disagree with are going to have an opinion on something. It doesn't make them fascist. It just makes them like they're, if anything, really, she should be happy, because it's like, look, she should be happy that people care enough about these movies that they're constantly reappraising them, rewatching them, rereading them in the case of the comics, to like maybe gain new meaning from them.
Yeah. I like when people will look at like a Watchmen or what's another one? I'll be honest, a lot of
Returns.
Any Alan Moore books and say like, oh yeah, this is either really good or yeah, he was crap. What the heck's going on?
Yeah.
I'm in the mindset of he made some good stuff and is very important and talented, but he is not my cup of tea. I love The Killing Joke, and that's about it that I love.
Well, speaking of an Alan Moore thing, I'll just put on my Guy Fieri mask.
So I have contacted somebody's script. I might get one of those printed for myself.
I mean, this is just a rough thing, but if someone wants to animate this better to look more like a Guy Fawkes style type of mask, send me that. I could probably 3D print some versions too.
Because I think it looks like Guy Fieri. I love it. I mean, I'm a first fucking patron of Flavor Town. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, go down to Flavor Town. That's the chant. Put a little
I
plaque
respect
on
it.
underneath the stand for.
You could make a really dirty T-shirt to sell with that exact quote and an arrow.
Yeah, you could.
I mean,
Yeah, you
women
could.
could wear
You
it.
could wear it on the front or the back, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
I think I'm gonna
so
make
is
that
it- is
stupid
it,
ass
Is it
shirt.
false advertising or not? Right?
It has a flavor. It didn't say if it's good or bad. It's just a
never said
flavor.
anything about positive.
Salt is a flavor, Andrew.
Awful. My God in heaven. Okay.
Okay, so
Ah.
the one thing, Andrew, is there anything else you wanted to add, or did you want me to go on to the next question for you? Because it might have a little more meat.
But I don't know if I could add any more than Script and Jared already brought up to the first question, to be honest.
So here's what I really wanted to talk about, just more of as a response to Lily Wachowski, because I do like the standpoint, and I do believe that art can be reinterpreted in countless ways. But I also do think there's a limit where, well, no, let me rephrase that. There's when somebody tells you explicitly what something means originally, and then they themselves want to change it, that's when I call bullshit, because they, the person, have changed. It's like George Lucas in his stance.
They're not the same person you were yesterday, let alone
and the
2 decades ago.
Wachowskis are definitely, they don't have the same names. They have different lives. I'm not
They
here
don't
to
even have the
judge
same
because
genitals.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say without saying it. And deep down, I really don't care about that kind of stuff. I don't care what people do. It's not my life, and I'm not interested in it. And I'm not a part of that shit. So, ELE, everybody love everybody. But I have watched The Matrix for the last 26 years, and I never once thought of it as anything besides kind of like living in it's like your avatar, meaning like in the internet world where, I might be WCBS on here, but I'm really this or that. But this is some proof that it was never a trans allegory. In dozens of interviews during the original rollout of the trilogy, Time, Entertainment Weekly, the official 1999 Warner Brothers press kit, both Lana and Lily consistently framed the red pill, blue pill choice as a metaphor for Buddhist detachment from illusion, Plato's cave, Gnostic Christianity, and general existential awakening, never once mentioning gender or transgender experiences. The earliest public suggestion from either sister is that it could be read from when it came out in 2012, or later around 2020 from Lily, when they both came out as trans. Now, the switch is the most commonly cited proof is that the character Switch was supposed to be written as male, and in the real world, a female in the Matrix, therefore a literal trans person, but was changed because the studio wouldn't allow it. This story originated on forums and was repeated by Lily in 2021. However, no contemporary script drafts, casting notes, or interviews from 1997 through 1999 support it. Switch was originally written as and cast as 2 separate characters, one male, one female, in very early drafts, then combined into one androgynous woman played by Belinda McClory for budgetary and casting reasons, nothing to do with trans representation. The Wachowskis have never produced any evidence, old script pages, emails, etc., to back up the latter's claims. And there are documented influences, namely, let's see, we have Hong Kong action, like in anime, Ghost in the Shell is about AI identity, not gender transitioning. We have William Gibson's cyberpunk, Philip K. Dick, and Gnosticism in general. None of these sources are about transgender experiences, and the siblings never mentioned trans authors' theories in the 1990s. And then there's more and more proof to that. But what I'm trying to get at, Andrew, is if you were a person on the outside looking in, and The Matrix, how would you look at it? Would you buy into the director's trans comments, or would you base it off of their earlier comments as the movies were coming out? Like, what interpretation do you buy?
I mean, I buy into the interpretation of their earlier comments, one, when it was actually still a relevant property, right? Where they had the opportunity, if they wanted to, I guess, try and champion something, right? Champion a cause, bring light to something, then that's when you do it, when your thing's popular, not when it's dead and you're attempting to resurrect it, much to failure. But also so Jared touched on something that he was essentially talking about death of the author, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a point once you put a creative work out into the ether, out into the world, and for public consumption. I know we like to stray away from, you're a consumer. We literally consume things, guys. Like, I don't know how to tell you that. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. It's an actual word. Words have meanings. And so it's okay to say you consume entertainment because that's what you're doing. You know, it can be of various qualities. That's another conversation. But I think when we were initially consuming and experiencing these films when they were initially coming out, I think the general consensus, at least from my kind of peer group growing up, as well as like with my family, it was talking about just identity within the world in general, as well as, you know, how much of an effect media and other things that are external can have on our interpretation of the world, right? And how sometimes our lens that we view the world through could be potentially wholly incorrect. And then there could also be times where, because the Matrix, what's really interesting about at least the general storytelling of the original trilogy, the execution of the latter two films notwithstanding, what's interesting is you can interpret it from two different sides, right? You can interpret it from the angle of, you know, there is a wool that's been pulled over your eyes, right? And the world that you think you know, you don't actually know, right? But you also have this other angle, which is looking at, I guess, Morpheus and Zion a little more, I dare say, nefariously, in that you have sometimes, and we see examples of this in the real world, where people can like try and drag you into whatever their thing is, right? Whatever their deal is. And that suddenly paints a completely different picture of the world for you. And now you've changed your lens, right, of the world. And so I think I thought, and I still think to this day, that at least that first film, there's very nuanced storytelling that happens there, and that you could have any number of different interpretations. And so that's what I lead with. And I remember, gosh, yeah, back in, what was it, 2021, when one of them was saying, oh yeah, it was meant to be a trans allegory and all of this. And I was like, so my feelings on that stuff completely removed and aside, I don't like, to me, that's a little bit of a stretch. I'm not saying it's impossible, but more importantly, I don't see the evidence back then of that being your intent. And now, obviously, with scripts, far more in-depth analysis of that, of like talking about early treatments, outlines, things like that, earlier interviews. There was not a hint of that. And so it's, to me, it's like I think you are changing your tune out of convenience for a current trend, right? And I don't know how to tell you this, ladies, it didn't help your movie. I didn't see the fourth one. And I have no interest in seeing the fourth one.
It's a lot. It's a similar thing. I brought up the X-Men. It's like, because when you look, it's like Stan Lee said he created the mutants not for like racism or anything like that. His original reason, he just got tired of having to have a like origin for the power, so he goes, I'll just have him.
Yeah, it was out of laziness,
and then later, as
coming
it
up with an
became
interesting origin is difficult for a bunch of different characters.
Yeah, and then it was like, as it became politically expedient to do so, he's like, oh no, they're definitely a racism allegory or a gay allegory or anything like that.
They were really an other allegory as a byproduct of.
Well, even in later interviews with Stan, I think back to the mid 2010s, even. You know, before we lost him, there was a big documentary and biography that was done on him. I think it was on Netflix, where he wound up talking about how, you know, it really just kind of wound up being a convenient thing that all these different people were latching onto it and being like, I identify with this. And his intent was just anybody who feels othered at any point. And the thing is, like, at the time, like, is teenagers or, you know, young adults that were reading comics, and it's like, that's a really common point in your life where you feel like an outsider, you feel othered, unless you're one of the popular kids. And even then, sometimes those people, they're really just kind of hiding how othered they feel for any number of reasons, right? And so for him, it was like, oh, well, I mean, I guess I can see how People who feel like they've been oppressed due to racism or whatever else, they can latch onto that. And great, if they can get something out of that, that's kind of the whole point, right? I didn't write it for that, but cool. I can see how they can connect with that. And that's why I wrote the X-Men as I did, was so that just anyone who feels othered can connect with it. Just anyone. It's not just for the people that have been oppressed by racism. It's not just for LGBT alphabet people. It's not just for any group, right? A lot of people play historical revisionism. Stan Lee's original versions of Charles and Magneto were not meant to be allegorical to Martin Luther King and
his version of Charles Xavier was in love with Jean Grey. Let's not forget about that one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, oh yeah. So there's and Malcolm X is who I forgot to say. Like, there's a lot of stuff that changed over the course of time, and a lot of that had to do with the run with Lee and everything. So, but I think interpretation, I will say it should be considered a positive quality if such a broad swath of people enjoy your work and they're all interpreting it differently, right? Because that means a bunch of different, it's reaching more people. You've written something that can reach a far broader swath of people in that way. The only problem comes to be the case when like one specific group of people is like, well, everybody needs to interpret it this way, right?
Yeah,
Or this is how I demand that this was made for me, and therefore it has to only be made for me. Well, piss off.
Well, what you want really is you want at least to have a couple of core elements to overlap through a multitude of different interpretations, because that then shows that you as a writer managed to get whatever story you're trying to get across to the broadest audience, that they're interpreting.
Correct.
Oh, this core element here, I understand that. Oh, but I can see these elements here that can go in this direction, and then another group can see these other elements there, and they go in a different direction. But the core concept still remains the same. If you have something where it's got multitude of interpretations and none of them overlap, you have failed as a writer, because you haven't brought people together onto a core idea. You've just had them all be like scratching their heads, like, I think it means this.
And that's just people, we experience life differently, right? We could go through the same events and get different takeaways from it, right? So I think that's just to be human. So I think people having different interpretations of storytelling is perfectly fine. I think this historical revisionism is nonsensical and ridiculous. And again, I think it's just out of convenience for modern trends and things like that. But you know what? All I care about is the first movie, and then a couple of scenes from the second two, and that's it. Anyway.
Bingo.
Like the freaking car chase scene and the chateau fight in Reloaded are fire. I will boot up that
Chateau
movie.
Fight Reloaded are fire. The car chase scene always pulls me out because the road, you can tell they're driving at like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't like that scene. It feels like they're just in a. I know they're not on a set, but it feels like they're in a set with like a roof or without a roof. It just because those corridors are so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, my buddy got a bootleg videotape of it, and he's like, "Let's watch it." I'm like, "Okay," and I didn't love it, and then I didn't watch the third one for years because I didn't really like the second one. But for some reason, I have The Matrix Reloaded on a videotape with Spanish audio. I got it for $1, and I was like, "This is kind of a funny knickknack." So somewhere in my collection, folks, is The Matrix with Spanish audio. But if you want that, maybe we'll do a thing where I can send it out to you guys.
Hey, ¿qué pasa, Neo? Uno.
Sí, yo soy Uno. Or El Uno.
I'll beat your butt in Uno.
I'll play Uno with you.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy playing Uno. I think it's a really fun party game.
I play it on my Xbox.
Yes. Well, I play it on PC or on my Switch.
That stupid voice. Uno.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
It is. It really is. And it is though more fun like if you're playing in person with other people, because it kind of brings back the feeling of like playing, on the couch with your buddies or siblings or whatever and playing games like Mario Party and Mario Kart and things like that, or Smash Brothers, right? Where you're like elbowing each other and yelling at each other and whatnot because, somebody played a perfect reverse card on you and now you got to draw freaking 16 cards and you're like, son of a...
Yeah, that shit pisses me off when it'll be like, here's the wild card 4 change color. Then somebody throws another one and it combines. You're like, Jesus.
Yep.
Folks, if you would like more on Uno strategies, join us on February 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And is there a February 29th in 2026? That's not how leap year
No,
works.
it's not a leap
I don't
year,
think-
26.
Yeah,
28.
it's
Wait.
not-
Yeah, it's next year. Okay, so join us on February 29th, 2026 for sure. I was right the first time for our Uno chat. We'll get the world's best Uno players and strategists. We'll bring them here on this channel because we are world class. Could you imagine if we had like if there was like an wait, is there an
Major
Uno?
League Gaming, but it's
Major
Uno.
MLG Uno.
I want
They have the
MLU.
gamer glasses.
I kind of need it, honestly. I
Well,
kind of need that in my
Andrew,
life.
you'll have to play the game me and a partner developed. I'll send you a beta deck soon. You can tell me what you
Okay.
think. We've been getting nothing but great reviews. We're getting ready to take it out to bars and test it out. So I'm excited.
I'm here for it, man.
That's been my other side project, man. It's way further along than I ever talk about on the channel. I went to Origins in Columbus and got to meet all kinds of cool people and learn about gaming. So
Dude,
it's
I'm
more than
here
just
for
comic
it.
books.
You got my number. Text me. Let me know when.
Oh, I will. I'll get your information. Now, folks, I have some information that I would like to share with you about a very cool independent project.
Yeah.
Not for me first. We're going to have our guest, Jared, share his in just a moment. But we did get a generous super chat from Shrubbles08 that says, there is a newbie blood on the panel. I'll take a new Buffalo Jeff button, another one, and a Joe Rogan high as F, please. Well, Jared, be prepared. You're about to
Oh boy.
be
The
spoiled.
full experience.
All right, so let's see what we have in this tab here. None of the buttons are in this one, so we'll go backwards. We'll work our way to Joe Rogan. So this is the Buffalo Jeff button.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Me, your old pal Buffalo Jeff.
Oh my God. the eyes remaining on the screen for so long.
That is the most consistent remark about that
Yes,
clip.
That is
possible.
perfect.
Right? Literally everyone, the first
That's
time
the
they see
funniest
that
part.
clip.
I was like, why isn't it transitioning? And then I was saying, I see
No.
the two eyes. I'm like, oh my God.
Yep, the red glowing eyes just take 8 days to fade out.
8 crazy nights, man. It's the most wonderful
Yep.
time of the year. I'm not Jewish. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, here's the other buttons you requested. Oh, they're in the first one. You're getting a bonus one because I just want to watch this. Not play? I guess you're not getting it because this damn thing cut you off. Sorry. But here you go. Let's give you those buttons. First off, another one. Well, we'll do that next.
Imagine if you gave a white supremacist 5 MEO DMT, and then as the first one, as they're exhaling,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that when you had to watch Joe Rogan ride a hot dog. Not something that every person should see, but they will if they're on this channel.
I unfortunately have to witness it every Tuesday night at 8.
I am going to send you a video of it.
Why?
You can watch it whenever
What did
you'd
I do
like.
to you?
No, I'm doing you a favor. You
I
said
was
you picked
backer number 2 on your Kickstarter, man.
Well, if you were backer number 1, I'm just joking. No, you asked for this. You said you only get to watch it on Tuesdays at 8. I thought as your friend, I would send it to you so you can watch it every day, whenever you wanted.
See, that whole stuff that I talked about a minute ago about death of the author, let's throw that out the window. My intent there was that I didn't want to see it more.
His intent is F you.
Yeah. And here's the other button right here. Oh, it did play.
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one.
God.
That dude's dead. He's gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know
yeah,
DJ
yeah.
Khaled passed away. Thank you. All right. So we are all creators, writers, artists, you name it. If some company just decided to hire all four of us, I think we could take good
Dream
care
team.
of whatever job they gave us.
DC
But-
hire us.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I'd love to work on a Batman comic book. Can I do animated series style? Because I would really love that.
Oh, that would be so cool. I bet you could rock animated series style.
I would do it slightly different. I would try to draw it as closely in pencil, but I'd ink it like a traditional comic book with a brush. So it would get like that, the big forms and the shapes that make a Bruce Timm drawing, the big chins, the small waists, but it wouldn't be as
That
harsh
would
and
look
angular. It'd be
so
kind of
rad.
Yeah, maybe it's not like I
Dude.
can't make it happen. Maybe I should just
Dude,
test it out.
I need
Make
I
that
need
your own
some
style for
time-
your own thing. Yeah.
I need some time lapses on Instagram this week now. Like
Of the Batman piece?
Yeah.
I don't know it this week, but I can put up some Instagram videos of Stealing Solo 2 because you
Hey,
told me
that
to do the
too.
one.
I'm
and
good
I
with
admit
that.
more. Also,
good with
make
that.
sure you watch my art video I dropped because there's literally a shout out to you, and it's not a troll job. I saw something in a sketchbook and I went, Andrew will watch this video, and so I mentioned you by name. So there you go.
when is this coming out?
Part one will be out tomorrow, and part two will be out next.
Will be
week.
out on YouTube,
These are on YouTube for everybody
Okay,
because these are
cool.
part
So
of
I'll
Steven
get-
Solo's campaign.
and I'll get a notification for it. Cool.
And I promise I won't put a Joe Rogan hot dog in the video.
I don't know if I trust you, but okay, I'll watch anyway.
Hey, I'm putting my name on this. All right, I would not put my name on the hot
Just
dog.
for that,
Joe
Andrew,
Rogan
he's
was
going to
writing.
put 2 Joe Rogan hot dogs in.
Right? Joe
Dueling
Rogan
Rogan.
riding 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, traveling at each other at various miles per hour, and which one is going to reach Chicago first?
Yeah,
That
Yeah,
somehow
there's
made it
81.
worse.
yeah. I don't like math either. Script, you're fired. No. All joking aside, Jared, it was so awesome to hang out with you guys over on your channel on Friday, and you gave me the opportunity to not only have a good time, but to share the word of Stealing Solo 2. So I would like everyone to hear about your book right now, so we can spread the word about independent books, because that's the thing I'm into, man. Like, independent creations are as good, if not better, than anything you can get professionally. We all have access to the same equipment. We have access to the same printing materials. Like, folks, when you buy independent books, you're not getting a lesser or cheaper book. You're just getting something that's not from Marvel, DC, Image, or a myriad of other publishers. You're getting stuff that is made by people who love this. So, Jared, I got to see your book on Friday. Let the audience hear a little bit about your work.
All right. So, as you guys know, I'm a Wonder Woman fan. I think I've made that pretty much like very apparent. But the thing is, it's like, and this came. I've always had the idea for like what I would do if I wanted to to write a comic, and I have a theory that like every comic book fan has that one story, that one comic that like to write. So this was mine, and where it came from is. So one of the shows that I do covers extensively Superman and Wonder Woman every Saturday. And one of the things that I noticed doing the history of it is Wonder Woman has not been treated well, like, for decades. So, and Tom King is just the straw that broke the camel's back, where it was like, I was that Thanos meme. Fine, I'll do it myself. So what I wanted to look at is I said, okay, so what do I like about comic books? What particularly DC, and that's the like similarities between it and like mythology, and that's why I was always more of a DC fan than Marvel, because DC leans into that these are gods amongst men, where Marvel is more of like just the average dudes that happen to get superpowers, and that's fine. That's their own thing. I like Marvel too, but it's like with DC, so what I wanted to do is tell a story, bringing the two together. And that's where Athena, the goddess of thunder, comes from. And what this is a story about a princess from the planet Centrogar. her planet, she is the last of the empowered on her planet, which is basically that's my name for anyone that has powers and empowered. And her planet is invaded by an intergalactic warlord named Xerxes. And the reason why he wants her is because if he gets his hands on her, he will become unbeatable. So she is sent a la Superman to Earth to escape. And she thinks at first that her planet is the only one with people that have powers. So when she shows up and there's like an entire team of superheroes called the Pantheon, she's like, wait a minute here. And then being a sheltered princess, she learns throughout the at least the first trade, because I have plans for like 12 issues of this, but she learns throughout the first like 3 or 4 issues that it's possible to use power to help people, to benefit people, not just to like rule over them or such. So she, and that's where the name Athena comes from, because I'm aware that Athena is not the goddess of thunder in Greek mythology, but that's supposed to symbolize that as the journey of as the character's journey continues throughout not only do we actually learn like because one of the things that I wanted to do, I wanted to avoid the Mary Sue, she can do everything, she is the most powerful. So what I did is when we see her, she doesn't necessarily know all of her powers yet, or like the full extent of her ability. She learns that over the course of at least the first trade, when she learns then yes, she the thunder and lightning, but there's something very subtly different about like the way her powers work, and I don't want to spoil that, so I'll just say it has to do with teamwork. But so it's essentially she learns how to be a superhero, she learns how to be essentially selfless, and then eventually as the series continues, she will, because the way I structured this is volume 1 is about identity, and then that's like her becoming a superhero. Lyra, that's her real name, becomes Athena. And then 2 is a straight up war story where her and the team go and like try and take back her home planet. And then volume 3 is the aftermath of like, what does her society look like after a straight up war? So I like to have each of the stories have their own theme, and each of the characters are either named after or are straight taken from mythology. Like we have Atlas, the god of strength, who's like my Superman character. And we have Dalesa, who's like my Aquaman / Mira character. She has basically Mira's powers where she can like control water, except it's the way she works is that she can create like swords and like maces and even maybe armor. So I kind of combine Mira with like Green Lantern in that sense. They have Hephaestus, who's the tech guy, Achilles, who's like my brawler berserker character, and Hermes, who is like my speedster. And one of the things when we were designing the characters or like this whole story is I wanted it to seem like I wanted people to be able to understand what the allegory, but I didn't want it to look like a ripoff. And that's a very like precarious balancing act you have to do when you're doing something that is in a lot of ways a tribute. And one of the like, and so one of the things that I really tried to do is like, okay, so how does Atlas differ from Superman? Well, for one thing, he's not an alien, he's from this planet. And then maybe I'll do origin issues for them. And like, he's more vulnerable than Superman. Maybe he'll be able to take more punishment, but he will scar, and he's not like he'll still like bleed and such from like being shot or something like that. And the overall gist of this is I wanted to basically possible to write a character like inspired by Wonder Woman, but write her, at least the way I think so, well. And it's also my tribute to this character that means a lot to me because, yeah, Wonder Woman is my #1 favorite superhero. Apparently, that's a rare thing to hear nowadays on the internet. But I'm very open about that because I think I've always said when you really look down on it, the reason why the Trinity has become like the leaders of DC is because each of them represent a component of being a superhero. Superman's hope, Wonder Woman's truth, Batman's justice. Now, you can't have justice without truth, and you cannot be hopeful unless you're truthful about yourself, your position, what have you. So if everything is revolving around truth, the way I see it, Wonder Woman is the most important character that DC has. They just don't treat her as such.
Do you have any images of this book that you can show?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
Because everybody's listening. It sounds great, but I think you should show it because I got to watch the trailer and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. So here is actually, I'm going to share a. Actually, am I showing the right screen? Yeah, yes, I am. As a matter of fact. So here is the cover. It's done by my friend Dawson Riedrich, and the colors for the covers are done by Dan Kemp, and he did like a lot of Spawn. So that was
cool.
a big get. I was happy to get. And so essentially, we have a variant cover because I wanted to have a variant cover of her in her little princess garb and one in her actual armor that she will be in throughout the entire series. So that's kind of where obviously the Wonder Woman inspiration comes out here. And then we have some images straight from the book here, like this one. The cool thing about my working relationship with Dawson is not once did I ever have to tell him, can you adjust this? Can you adjust this? Can you adjust this? Every time he sent me a page, it was exactly 100% what I saw in my head. That is like how in sync we were, like with this, because I wanted it to be like, okay, when her powers manifest, a lot of it is motivated by pain. And I said, okay, so I want a mosaic behind her with lightning about like her past. And then he sends me back that, and I go, that is exactly what I was thinking of right there. And here's some pages from. Here's a page from the more beginning of the book of the assault. That's Xerxes right there. He's basically my version of Darkseid. And then here are a couple of members of the Pantheon. There's Atlas, Hephaestus, Hermes, and Achilles. This is what I was talking about, where I'm like, okay, it's like I wanted you to be able to say, okay, so that's basically your Superman character, but not immediately go, oh, so he's a Superman rip off of a character. And then this is Thalassa.
Wild cards.
Yeah, so that's one of the stretch goals is that, so you know how Marvel had those cards that had arbitrary stats on the back and a bio? Well, we have those as well, where it's like it'll have like a little like, I'll allude at the backstory of each character and then all of their stats based upon like their abilities and what they do. And then since Dawson and I are really like honing in on Greek mythology, that's why the little bordering of like Greek pottery is used and such. So that's kind of, so it's in other words. Now, again, I want to stress something. These are not all of these characters are straight up like the characters from mythology. I just use the names because it's like, again, I wanted to use that component of mythology in there. The other thing I want to really emphasize is that issue 1 is 100% done. It's drawn, colored, lettered, what have you. All it needs is the funding to be printed, and it is good to go.
Now, as a creator, I have things that inspire me.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that inspire you? Because the audience knows the first Spider-Man movie really set me off on this whole creating comic book journey.
Yeah. So it was like, I was always a superhero fan to a degree, but it wasn't until actually 2020, as a matter of fact, when the Snyder Cut was announced of Justice League, because I saw the original Justice League movie, and it was one of those things where I saw it and I thought I liked it at first because I had those fan nut nostalgia goggles of, it's a Justice League movie. But as it like went on, I was like, yeah, this movie sucks. Then the Snyder Cut comes out, and that was like one of my, that still is like one of my favorite movies. And it's like that like inspired a lot of this with like my channel and such. But in terms of what really inspired like Athena, it was mainly like a lot of George Perez Wonder Woman, because that guy, he knew how to make you care about Wonder Woman and how to like juggle a massive cast of characters, but still have Wonder Woman be the focus. That's the thing. While there are other characters in this series, Athena is the central focus of the story. And every issue that is labeled Athena, she is the focus. I'm not like Tom King, who all of a sudden like Atlas will be the focus of the series. No, absolutely not.
Now I always have to kind of pull my questions back because we can all geek out about creation stuff all night long. I don't want to, go too deep in the audience, be lost. But if you were going to tell me, because I think we did this on your channel about 5 important comic books. Yeah, I really liked that one. For our audience's sake, give us 3 books that you just absolutely love.
George Perez, Gods and Mortals. That's the first arc of his George Perez Wonder Woman arc, and it introduced all of her lore, ridiculous to a T, but didn't do it in an overwhelming way. Number 1. Number 2 is Superman Wonder Woman by Charles Soule from the New 52, because I really like the idea of Superman and Wonder Woman being a couple. Anyone that's watched my channel knows that I hate Lois Lane, but and honestly, if I really had to pick a third one, it would have to be, honestly, Golden Age Superman, where he was like more of like that guy that's like he's essentially the champion of the oppressed. He'll like go into a fight, but I've always liked it when superheroes had a little bit of an edge to them. Now, it's not like all of a sudden I like them grim, dark, brooding on not everyone has to be Batman, but I like the way Golden Age did Superman being like more of like a champion. And when you think about it, he didn't have all the powers that we now take for granted. That's the cool part, is that they had less to work with, but made it work.
Didn't even fly in this first couple of years.
Didn't even fly. I don't think he even had heat vision.
And those are some of his most iconic powers, like the flight and the laser eyes, and then the heat, the breath. I'd say are like Superman's 3 biggest. Yeah. The strength is a given; it's in the name. And I got to tell you, man, you and I may be on different sides of the newer Superman movie, but I got to say that this new Superman movie reinvigorated my love of the character, because Superman wasn't my first superhero, but like there was a small window of time where he was my favorite, right about 1995. And the only reason I didn't get into Superman earlier is because he was dead. But I've gone back and I love the character because of how important he is. Yeah. And that's what I dig about a lot of the stuff from DC, how important it is.
And let me be clear. I overall liked that Superman movie. My problem is like some of the creative choices, like the Superman Hera being sent to like basically grape the entire Earth. That's when I'm like, really, dude? Really? But it's I'm like, of all the things you could change, you changed that. But it's like overall, it's not my favorite Superman movie, but it's an enjoyable Superman movie the way I kind of consider it.
Better than Superman 4: The Quest for Peace?
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
All right, we'll be friends forever then. We're good.
Thank you. That's kind of a low bar, though.
We set the bar low enough that Mephisto is jumping rope over it. Okay,
it was Mephisto all along.
Oh God, Agatha.
Oh my! I didn't watch that, and I made it through half of the first episode of Ironheart before I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't even try.
I still haven't seen Echo.
Neither have I. I
forgot it exists. I forgot it even existed.
I don't want B-list characters. If Disney's going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a show that you already own the rights to, just make a goddamn Daredevil show every year. Put out pay Sony whatever it costs. A Spider-Man TV show would sell Disney Plus subscriptions. It's not really hard.
It would.
It's like
He
waiting
did it well.
5 years to get these characters. Like, we live in a time where people have the worst attention spans ever. Yet everything that is meant to be for them is stretched out so long that even somebody like me who can sit through anything and keep it, pay attention to it, will lose interest. Like, that's where we are, man. Like Stranger Things. It's been forever, it feels like. It's been 84 years since the last season dropped. And
some of the actors are married.
Dude, Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown. Isn't she a mom now?
She might be.
I might be misremembering that. I feel like I saw somewhere that she was a mom. I know she got married, but she doesn't look. She looks so much older than
They
she
all
did in
do.
all of the other seasons, including just the most recent one before this one.
The kid that plays Lucas, the black guy, I swear to God, he was like, I was like, wait, is that a different actor? Because there was a shot of him with his fake little flat top and all this crap. I'm like, that guy is 46 years old. He is older than me. Like, what the hell is going on with Stranger Things?
His fake flat top. That's funny.
Hey,
funny.
that is a thing they'll do in a lot of movies with black actors. Like in the movie Money Talks with Chris Tucker, he's wearing a foam hairpiece.
I believe it.
That's not real hair. That's just foam carved to look like his hair.
Yeah, but it's Chris Tucker's, so I'll accept it. Chris Tucker.
He was off filming the Fifth Element at the same time, so it's like I think that's why his hair's fake in that movie. I love that movie.
That's fair.
But both Money Talks and the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Now, before we get going, let me check in with the audience. Jared, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience? How long is your campaign going for? And are you having any late pledges accepted? And what about your perks? I know you said the cards. Is there anything else?
So the campaign is going for 17 more days until December 20th. And in terms of perks, so we have both covers are available as a digital option. And then you can receive PDFs of both. That's somehow your. And then obviously a physical copy of both covers. And then obviously the 2-pack. Now, the original art cover, it's just so basically what this perk is. You get everything I just said above, all the PDFs, all the covers, but you also get a piece of original art from one of the pages, like the original pencils from one of the pages, and you get that.
That's rad. Original art is like really fun to have. I actually only have one original art piece in my entire collection of all of my comic book stuff, but it's a pretty special piece.
There you
More
go.
original art than I own. I'm Mr. Artist, and I don't own a single piece of Marvel history. But...
You can actually make your own original art. So.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Any
but
art
I'm
you
not
make is the original art.
Oh, okay. Well, then I literally went through a Rubbermaid container full of original art. I was.
There you go.
There you go.
That's the thing. So Jared, I've been listening to your pitch. I dig it. Let me boil it down and make sure I got everything, and you fill in the gaps. Okay. So my understanding is that Athena, exiled from her home world to protect her from a tyrant, discovers on planet Earth a selfless group of heroes that inspires her to strengthen her own abilities and start her journey to liberate her home planet. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right, cool. I'm giving you that as a log line to help your pitch for your campaign, because good, strong log line goes a long way with breaking down the barriers so that you can lean into the bigger excitement of the book series, because this looks pretty awesome, dude. So
thank you. And then I have a trailer if you guys want to check out the trailer.
Absolutely. We're going to give the full screen, man. Go for it.
All right, so let me do this.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sutragon, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
Yeah. Dude, I want you to get all of your funding so we can get all the books. Because you said 12, right? You'd like to do 12 issues and then like
12 issues. My plan currently is that because I'll admit I went a little high with like the funding goal for like my first comic, but if this doesn't get funded now, I'll just relaunch at a smaller goal. I'm hoping I can get this funded the first time so I don't have to do that. But is eventually these books will come out.
I'm happy to hear that because what you're showing looks cool. It's a great concept, and I'm going to go do me a favor and send me this link because I'm going to back a copy of this. I'm going to get both of the books, the covers, for the collection.
I'll put them in the private chat.
Yeah, thank you. And folks, you guys can support this right now. You have 17 more days. So like I always say here on the channel, guys, you can basically direct entertainment. You don't have to be passive and complain about streaming services and scroll on your phone. For just a couple bucks, you can help secure the future of entertainment. I know it sounds crazy, but like there are people out there, Jared, myself, Andrew, Script, And I know Script's not doing independent stuff like this, but he's still making art and
I'm
still
gonna
getting
twist.
the work out there.
If I have to drive up to the Great White North and twist Script's arm to have him write a comic book, I
Pick
will.
me up on the way, and I'll be like,
We'll
all right,
both
Script,
do it.
as you pitch it, I'm gonna start roughing it out for you.
Right. He'll start doing freaking layouts. Like we'll make something happen. It's gotta be done.
If it's a superhero or some kind of action-y story, I'll finally get to bust out my comic booky style, which is,
See, now it absolutely has to happen because I need to see that.
But I will tell you this though, no matter what, after Stealing Solo 3 comes out, I will finally do something in that style, the way I actually draw every day, because I'm telling a comedy story, but I want to do something epic because that way I get to, I don't know, draw all the cross. Okay, I won't be all the cross hatching, but
I needed. Are you gonna have a bunch of pouches, Jeff?
Dude,
You gotta go pouch.
I am a 60s style guy. When I
You
design,
gotta go Liefeld. Come on.
I will have
tiny
veins. I'll have veins and tiny feet and no pupils in the eyes. How's
and
that?
giant
All
guns.
right,
You
all
need
right,
those.
okay.
Come on.
Guns
Dude,
that have guns on them. Those
The gun is
barrels
going to
have
be
barrels.
so big that it can be seen from outer space, and if our hero's not careful, he'll bump it into the moon and throw off its orbit around the Earth. It'll throw off the tides, and it'll fuck up the planet. Is that a big
See, now
enough
we're
gun for
talking
you?
comics.
Yes.
Now we're
All
talking
right.
comics.
I'm going to make a book just called Big Gun, and it's just going to be so dumb. I'm writing this down right now.
Just make it guns and pouches, man. Like that's all you need.
That's all you need. It's a pouch.
Just make it the most
It's a
90s
pouch that
comic
fires a
ever.
gun.
Yeah, pouch and fires.
Gun pouch. There you go. Gun pouch.
There you go.
You know what I'll do is I'll put some effort. Okay, I always put effort into the work. But what I'll do is I should make this as like a really small, like 20-page story to get the attention out there, people, and then like basically poke Rob Liefeld to see if I can trick him into giving me free promotion.
Well, dude, we already have, what is it, sandbag guns? So instead,
beanbag
take that
gun.
concept and instead it's shooting pouches.
Oh, I was actually thinking of a sentient pouch that opened its mouth and a gun came out and just shot people.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I thought this was even my gun pouch. I thought it was actually a pouch.
And all you need is then you can have the antagonist be a woman with big boobs who actually has a purse and everything, and she can pull out like various other weapons.
It's
from
the
purse.
war against the pouches and the purses.
Yeah.
You know I'm gonna fucking do this now, right?
That's the
You
true
have
battle
to.
of the pouch.
have
That's the
to.
true battle of the sexes, Jeff.
That is
Dude,
hysterical.
When I was
Make
going
it
through the
happen.
box of art this morning, I found a ton of stuff that I had like in high school. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do a comic on this and that. So I took pictures. I might do one of the stories and just have it as a backup. But yeah, let's check in with the audience. Then we're going to tell you about Stealing Solo. Folks, you barely got a week left. You don't want to miss out. Our friend Xavier to God, thank you very much. He says, rate these love triangles from bad to worst. Spider-Man, MJ and Gwen. Batman, Catwoman and Talia. Wolverine, Cyclops and Jean. Nightwing, Batgirl, and Starfire.
I'm
gonna jump in and say mine first. The only one of these that's actually any good is Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean. I reject the idea of
as long
Dick
as
and Barbara and Spider-Man. I don't understand the fascination with Gwen. She was actually a boring character in the comics.
Yep.
and she banged Norman Osborn.
We don't. Okay, so
No,
we
a
don't talk
clone
about
did.
Sins Past.
Yeah, we don't. That's actually a written rule.
Yeah, that is actually written in that was on the third tablet. So when Moses dropped the third tablet,
Wait, no, it was on the
In
other
the event
commandments that he
Sins
broke.
Past happens, we're
the
not allowed
Lord
to
has
talk
given
about
me
it.
10
Commandments.
10 commandments, right? And then as far as Batman goes, I'm sorry, neither of them. Catwoman is a horrible. That's an actual toxic relationship for Bruce. That's bad. You don't do that, just as you don't put Felicia with Peter in any serious situation.
Well, you're
That's
looking at the
ridiculous.
last 25 years of Catwoman. Like the stuff that was happened before that, way better.
Yeah. Now, I'll say this. I don't know about Nightwing and Starfire and Batgirl, so I'm going to put that at the bottom. And then I'll put Batman, Catwoman, and Talia, because not that I dislike them, but I don't care about them the way I care about number 2, Spider-Man, MJ, and Gwen. And yeah, I'm putting Spider-Man at number 2 because Gwen Stacy's boring, and a better love triangle was Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and the Black Cat, because it was Secret Identity had one girlfriend, Real Identity had another one. It's really shitty when you say it out loud, but it's far more interesting because every guy, I don't care how virtuous you are, because Spider-Man's pretty damn virtuous. If you had that ability, you probably would do the same thing he does. So it's a very human moment that I like. But that doesn't take away from my number one of Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, because Wolverine feels like he's a piece of shit, not good enough for her, and it adds to his character, and it adds layers, and you find out about all the women he lost in the past due to time or he couldn't save, and it's all of these things. It's so good that somebody like me who grew up in the 90s where Jean Grey, every episode of the cartoon, she went, Scott, oh, and just fell down and was like the lamest character on the planet.
Jean's useless in that show.
And then you discovered, hello, Emma Frost.
Shit, I was like, hello, Dark Phoenix Saga. That was my X-Men story. Wait, do you mean your X-Men wife or your wife that you're going to get a divorce from?
My X-Men wife.
Okay, because I was like,
as in just the X.
Thank you. I was always more of a Cyclops and Emma than Cyclops and Jean because Jean keeps dying.
Scott, just like that. Every
if she sounded like she was orgasming constantly.
Yeah. I know it was a kid's cartoon, but they should have put a little nosebleed in there to make it a little clearer what was happening. That is what it is. Like, I'd love, was it Jennifer Hale's the voice actress?
Jennifer Hale is the voice actor. But what's funny is that the guy they got to replace the original Cyclops, the way he was able to recreate the voice was by screaming Jean the way that guy did it first, so we could get the tone and inflection down. Because that's what
the hilarious part. It would be hilarious in like a parody of the X-Men if like Scott and Jean are having sex and she goes, Scott, and the X-Men are walking by and hear it, but think she's in danger. So they burst through the door ready for a fight. And they're like, oh, carry on.
Oh, whoops.
Well, if you hear that Scott and then you got Jean, Scott, Jean, Scott.
Oh my God, Mr. Sinister's attacking the X-Mansion. We have to go save him. Da-da-da-da.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to draw that, but that'd be hilarious. That'd be the type of shit John Byrne would have drawn in the 80s and given to you at a convention.
Yep.
Or for Frank Cho would draw now. Have you seen his Supergirl in bed with a horse?
Yeah, I just literally saw that on tonight's show. Like when I was reading the message on Twitter, Andrew sent me that, popped up in my feed.
Oh my God.
Frank Cho's the man. Like, nothing but respect for that guy's artwork. Xavier God, thank you very much. After Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, who is on the Mount Rushmore or the fourth best / most popular hero? Ooh, this is actually a really good question because there's a lot of things to think about.
I was going to say there are a lot of different qualifications you got to put on this as far as like who do you think should be on there, or rather who in like the cultural zeitgeist would be on there.
Thank you.
Things like that. Those are wholly different conversations.
His examples are Wonder Woman, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hulk, or Flash. Now the way we'll do this to, I guess, speed things up because it is getting late. Just tell me if it should be one of these, or if not, who would you put as your number 4 on Mount Rushmore? Andrew, you go first, since I made you go last time.
I mean, if we're just talking cultural zeitgeist here, I mean, everybody knows I'm a Flash fan. I think that Wonder Woman should be on there. However, if we're talking cultural zeitgeist, it's Wolverine. And that's because of
movies,
not just the 90s. It's because of the movies, really. Yeah. You know, the 90s X-Men runs, you know, helped in terms of with the cartoons and with the comics. But those movies, Marvel Comics changed how Wolverine looked in the comics because of those movies. Right? Because there are very few instances of a casting that has such an impact on the character that I think attempting to recast anybody who makes tries to take that shot, they're up against it. You know, trying to recast Tony Stark, trying to recast Logan, right? Those are some of those characters, some of those few examples. So I would have to put Wolverine on there in terms of, again, cultural zeitgeist. I think if we're talking who deserves to be on there, it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Wonder Woman. But as far as the general public goes, it would have to be Wolverine. And I'm not even that big of a Wolverine fan.
Jared, you're a big comic guy, big enough to make your own. What would you put on this list? Or who would you put on this list?
Here's the thing. I would say Wonder Woman, but if we're talking about 2017 Wonder Woman after the movie came out, I would say Wonder Woman. I agree with Andrew, but it's like I want to put Wonder Woman on there because of what she represents. I mean, I just gave an argument as to why she's the most important DC character. But yeah, into cultural zeitgeist, you really have to take that into account. And it's like, until she gets another movie that does like really well, the last Wonder Woman movie, 1984, didn't exactly help well.
It was trash, dude.
Of those options, I would go Wolverine or maybe Iron Man if we're talking cultural zeitgeist now, because it's like with the MCU and everything like that, and it's like how many people know what Iron Man is now?
Very good point.
Because like remember when the Iron Man movie was coming out,
He was
number
a
one.
C-lister.
Well, not only that, the number one issue that Marvel had was convincing people he wasn't a robot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
How many
because
robots
that's
have
part
roller
of,
skates,
that was
though?
also part of
Roller
one of
skate
the-
man. Hold on.
That was one of the parts of the guys that Tony Stark had. It's either a bodyguard in an armor suit or it's a robot bodyguard.
Mhm.
I do love that.
I
era.
think a lot of people probably missed what you just put down, Jeff, with the roller skates.
Oh yeah, how many robots have roller skates?
Yeah.
Dude, there's
Are
a
you
new Iron
talking
Man
about
figure that comes with
I
roller
think
skates.
like me and 3 other people, if that, might have caught that.
It's the
The thing
Venom
is-
issue.
I'm one of those people, like, I may have gone through like all these issues once, but I just remember everything. And I'll never forget Iron Man. He had jet-powered roller skates. I was like,
And
what
they
is this?
homage that in the Venom
In the-
issue where Venom becomes Iron Man.
I need to read
it-
that issue then.
It was the most recent one. Well, actually, the most recent one technically comes out tomorrow. But the issue before that, Venom tries to. Super long story short, Venom knows that they're being hunted, and it's like, okay, so we cannot look like Venom. We can't look like big hulking symbiote, tongue hanging out, big old things, and all that. So let's look like Iron Man. And the host is like, Iron Man can fly. We can't fly. How are you going to make this work? And so Venom goes, I remember this from, I forget exactly what it is, but it says something in regards to like when I was bonded to so-and-so or, researching so-and-so. I remember this from their memory banks. And so he starts doing the roller skating thing through the streets of New York. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a deep cut.
Well,
It was actually hilarious. I was genuinely shocked. I did not expect that.
I'm gonna go check it out. That's like when the Thanos copter reappears in the Daredevil book. That's very
Mm.
self-aware. It's not the Electric Company. It's Deadpool. Excuse me.
Mhm.
Script. Obviously, you know the question.
Yeah. For popularity wise, Wolverine is the more popular one out of those other 5 options, with Wonder Woman being a very, very close second to that. Because again, you're talking about the most popular. I mean, not necessarily the best, because I know that there's some arguments there across the board throughout the fandom when it comes to all of those names. But yeah, with regards to popularity, market share, yeah, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and Wolverine would be the ones that you'd put on the Mount Rushmore for that.
Now, since we're able to replace that, and it only says hero, I'm going to cheat because there is a comic book character that is bigger than all of them that is listed here, and we just don't think about it. And I do think he would actually fit among these great heroes. So I'm going to go to Japan, and I'm going to pull Goku out because he is who I think would be the most recognizable. I'm not being funny. If it was just American comic books, if it said that, I would put Iron Man, because while Wolverine is huge, he was bigger in the 90s when he was like, go back and read a 90s comic. Wolverine was Marvel. He and Spider-Man were the brand.
Yeah.
And I like that era of Wolverine, don't get me wrong. But Iron Man, those movies reached more people than any X-Men film. Every Avengers movie is $1 billion grosser. Every Avengers movie features Iron Man. Iron Man became such a big deal. And I understand that sometimes merchandise doesn't always represent every little thing, but I see Iron Man 10 times. And I don't mean Ollie's, I just mean anywhere. I always see Iron Man far more than I see Wolverine. Now, Wolverine does sell because I buy all the damn Wolverines. But I do think Goku represents the world comic book market a little more, because my mom knows Goku. She could be like, oh, it's Dragon Ball Z guy. but like One Punch Man or
Dragon Ball Z guy.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z guy.
Hey,
That
she
is such
bought
a
me the
mom
That's her
thing to
superhero
say.
name.
That is
Yeah.
that is the most mom thing in the world to possibly say. That's like my mom saying, "Oh, that's Orange Pikachu," right? When she's talking about Charmander, right? Like,
Now, I will tell you this, though. My mom is the reason I got into comic books. She used to read comic books back in the day. And if you ever meet her, ask her to quote the opening to the Superman TV show. She's got it down like that. Strange
That's
visitor from another
amazing.
world. And all that. Yeah, she knows her stuff. So,
I love that.
so, folks, we have reached a fun show. Jared, thank you for joining us, man. We'll have to have you on no matter what again, because it was fun to talk to you.
Anytime, man.
Folks, we have Stealing Solo 2, which we're going to play you out with tonight. But go ahead and back Athena, back Stealing Solo 2. You can get all of these wonderful books, all of these wonderful pieces of entertainment, stuff that's going to stick with you. And as you know, stuff that's coming from WCPS is always world class. Premium paper, premium covers, high gloss varnishes, all the works. My books are graphic novels, printed spine, you name it. So when you're back in that project, you can feel good that you know you're getting something hefty and awesome and world class. And as you've seen, I've been sharing the artwork all over. But folks, Stealing Solo 2 is closing on the 11th. So you don't have very much time. We have what? 8 days to go.
8 days.
There we go. So you can get the covers. Here, let me share this with you real quick. You can get both covers drawn by me. Everything's drawn by me, so I'm not just going to keep repeating it. But I drew the book. So you can get this cover. That is the wraparound A-list cover. We have the B cover, which is a little different on the cover itself. If you're a Star Wars toy collector, you know this is missing the pillbox and a few logos, but don't worry, the real cover already has it in there. And the story is basic. Mark Hamill has snapped. He is jealous. After Harrison Ford was kidnapped in Stealing Solo 1, well, Mark Hamill wants to reclaim some of that glory, some of that fame, and some of the sanity he lost at the hands of Disney Star Wars. So, in his depraved mind, he decides to kidnap the kidnappers from the first book and force them to remake The Last Jedi in an attempt to get some respect on his name once again. It's a parody. It's a commentary on entertainment. You see these characters in green screen. Well, let me open up the book a little bit for you and tell you guys that I don't like the way movies are made. They lack a tactile feel. They lack something. And so I wanted to make fun of that in these books, because a lot of modern Disney, we'll just use Disney Star Wars for the example, but any big budget movie, it looks like they're just on a sound stage, the fake lighting. You can tell it's not real. So I wanted to do something to make fun of that. So if you're looking at this book and you're going, why is there so much green screen? That's the reason why. And my colorist did a great job with the green screen costume as well. I'm very happy with that. But I look like a dick, and that's the whole point. I want to make fun of myself when it comes to these books. I'm very self-aware. But as you guys can see, there are tons of different variants. There are combos where you can get the shirt, the poster, and the book. You can get both books. You can get all sorts of stuff. There are options out there for everybody. And I'm glad I did both of these covers, because you guys like both covers. And also going to change something, because realistically, with 8 days, we're not going to get to all the magnets unless something crazy happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to retroactively go back and do it for every $1,000. So here we are. You're going to get Nick, Jeff, Kendo. I'll probably put the Dion magnet down so you can at least get all the kidnappers. But if you want the fight and the Hamill magnet and all that stuff and the surprise ones, we still got some time to make that happen. But as you guys know, this is a parody approved by no one. So make sure you grab this from me.
I love that. I love that there. The approved by no one thing.
I made it myself.
I
love that.
Because if you ever see it elsewhere, they ripped it off from me. So I made this one in Photoshop.
I like it because it's both a CYA and it's a wink and a nod to the stupid Comic Code Authority thing.
That's
so,
to me, it's a middle finger to Frederick Wortham from Beyond the Grave. Because
exactly.
I think I'm the most angry person at some dude who died before I was born. It's like, man, we could have had great shit. You canceled Tales from the Crypt, you son of a bitch. But that's irrelevant here and there. But folks, like Jared's book, this is a finished book. I haven't done anything with it since we launched the campaign, because I'm done. But when the campaign closes, we will order the books, take care of business, and that's pretty much all she wrote. And like I said, guys, there really aren't any risks or challenges associated with this. It was just a lot of fun, and I'm already jotting down stuff for the third book. Yes, on tonight's stream, I was inspired by Jared and Script talking about stuff, Andrew as well, and I was like, you know what? Let's start mapping it out. So I have I have the first thing written down for this book. But I'm going to close you guys out with the trailer. But before we go, Script, you have a Patreon. Where can people find and support you and all that you do here on the internet?
Yeah, well, just follow me on the X if you want to learn about screenwriting, writing, get some interesting reviews, some speculative casting that I'm going to start up hopefully next year, because Patreon has now added some new functions that allows me to do something a bit more article-like in format. So that'll help out with the immersion there. And then I have a weekly show on Saturdays called Scripts on Saturdays, where I get to review screenplays by professional writers that are circulating around Hollywood, looking for purchase and development. And yeah, so we every Saturday we do one. We just did our 100th episode last Saturday, so this Saturday is 101, and we're going to keep it going because in about 7 days or so, the 2025 Blacklist, which is a nice collection of scripts that are gaining popularity within the industry but have not been purchased or greenlit, will be dropped, and we'll be prepping for next year's show, drawing on some of those scripts as well, just to see how has the industry shifted post the WGA writer strike. And so far, the creativity is pretty good. The quality is definitely mixed, but the creativity is pretty solid.
I need to listen to your shows more often. I don't know. I like to learn more about screenwriting.
Yeah, no, they're all there. I haven't put them behind any paywalls yet because I'm just too lazy.
Yeah, at least you're honest.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm too busy with other stuff, and I just don't care. I'm happy to have it out there, because if it inspires just one person to write an interesting story, that's worth it.
We also have Andrew. Now, Andrew, you have your story is about to be printed, correct?
Yeah, actually, I was given an update today. It's actually being folded and assembled at the printer this week. So hopefully that'll be shipped out next week. Hopefully it is shipped out no later than next week, so that way I can sign copies the following week, because the week after that, I'm visiting my family in North Carolina for 5 days or whatever, leading up to Christmas. But yeah, I wrote the Rippaverse's superhero speedster, which it was a great honor to be able to do, because that's an archetype that's near and dear to my heart. You know, I grew up reading and loving, obviously, Flash, Velocity over Image with Cyberforce. Yeah, I love Quicksilver. Sonic the Hedgehog's my favorite video game character. But I wanted to create a Heart of Gold superhero, traditional Heart of Gold superhero, but from a young hero angle. So the primary DNA of the character, his name's Zephyr Arland, is Peter Parker and Sonic the Hedgehog. So think the quippiness, think the relatability, the younger heroes. So at least in terms of Peter's younger days, I reject the idea that Peter always needs to be stuck in that younger years loop. But that paired with like Sonic's sass, and I created a character that a lot of our fans seem to be really hyped for so far, which is a great honor. It's a humbling thing, and I really hope that the people that ordered a copy enjoy the short story that I wrote.
Well, you need to make sure that you set aside a copy for me to buy from you, because I want to back you the way you've backed me. I've just been busy, but I definitely want to support you, man.
I backed it.
I appreciate you. I actually have there was there's an artist that I follow on Instagram and Twitter. His name's Pizza. It's Pizza, then a couple of numbers. I always forget the numbers because I'm bad with numbers, but he put out an art challenge that was like challenging people that are like, hey, and if you're struggling with your art, you know, keep at it. And it was basically, he drew Superman holding out, you know, his hand or holding out a pencil, like encouraging people. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to take my crack at it. And so I actually drew my character essentially doing the same thing. And that's right here.
It was
cool.
Yeah. Hold on. Keep it up. There we go. Yeah. You did a great job, dude.
Nice.
That's why I always tell you, like, you don't really need somebody to draw your own comic. You got it down. Good anatomy, good hands. You're set. Good line weight too. So how long did that take you?
Oh gosh, this took me an afternoon, and then I sent it to our Rippaverse art director, Kanan White, because the part that I actually struggled the most on, there were two parts. One being I initially had the forehead wrong and I had the neck too long, and then this hand right here, man, this angle on the hand was making me want to put my head through my desk. And I was like, Kanan, how do I fix this? And he showed me like a bit of a loose sketch example, and he was like, tackle it from this angle. And I was like, okay. And then it turned out that way, which is markedly better.
It's a good, you have good, like that's literally the first thing I noticed. Like, man, those are good looking hands, Andrew.
That was like, God bless Kanan, because like that lower hand in the foreground, man, that was killing me. I was wanting to stick my head through my desk because I'm not practiced. And
hands are the hardest thing to draw.
They really are, which is why I try to avoid them. But if I'm gonna get better, I have to practice them, right?
Oh yeah, my problem with it is like I have a problem with hands the way I have a problem with art is it's not that it's difficult to draw these things. I need like a prompt, or I need to like know what I'm drawing, because for example, if you're like just draw a body, I might draw some janky ass thing or whatever just in a rush. But if I'm working on a book, I know exactly how I want to lay it out so it turns out better.
Yeah.
Same with hands. There are so many variations. I don't really, my brain goes, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So I'll just draw a fist or something if it's a loose sketch, or I'll do like a natural position. Nobody likes drawing hands, but that's something I work on myself. So
there's so
too many
hard
joints in a hand. That's why. I mean, arms and shoulders, hips and knees, those are easy. But when you have, essentially like what, 15 joints in a human hand, give or pretty much.
Well,
that's why Rob Liefeld says always avoid drawing hands and always avoid drawing feet, right?
Yeah,
that's why his feet are off camera.
I think hands are harder, but I don't think feet are difficult at all. They're just a wedge.
Yeah.
And 99%.
I guess
of the
you're
time,
just a talented artist, Jeff.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that compliment. I never am going to tear down Rob Liefeld to build myself up, but I got to tell you, Gun Pouch is going to be a comic in 2026.
Dude, you have to make it
be.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
I know how to sell. We have our crosshairs set on.
Happen.
We have our sights set on Rob Liefeld. Gun Pouch. That's just going to be. Oh, what's funny? I actually had a guy. I told you this, Andrew. I have a colorist who can do like that late 80s, early 90s marker style. And he messaged me literally the day Stealing Solo launched. And I went, well, shit, I don't need art from you now, but I might get him to color Gun Pouch.
Amazing. Yes.
Before we go, our friend Virsago one says, El Jefe, what is your highest backing amount so far for Stealing Solo 2? Well, I'm very happy that the collector's bundle, we have sold 50% of what is available. There's only 10 available because you get a custom printed box. You get all the books. You get 3 shirts, 3 posters. But what you get that is super rare, that is unavailable elsewhere, you get the sketch cover variant of Stealing Solo 1. I only have 11 or 12 of those. Well, I have 13 of them, but one is kind of dirty, and I would never give that out. My point is, there are a limited supply. So that is the answer, that edition. There is a bigger box with everything I've ever done, if you wanted to get that one. That comes with a lot of stuff. It's every cover of Stealing Solo 1, every cover of Stealing Solo 2, Woke Busters, Tits and Art, both versions, and 2 shirts and posters. So it's literally everything I've ever done in print. But the Stealing Solo box has been a mover, and I'm very happy that you guys like the deluxe edition. But
I made sure to get mine.
And I appreciate that.
I had to have it.
Those will all get a special personalized thank you note as well. Because come on now, it's a big purchase, and I want everyone to feel like they get their values worth. Because I'm a collector. The number one thing I care about is, do I feel like I got my money's worth? When I'm paying for a hot toy, if I'm paying $300 for a doll, it's got to look good. And so if you're paying $250 for a box, I'm going to make sure you get everything and some. So just be on the lookout, folks. Make sure you check out shipping too. This campaign isn't only America. This campaign ships around the world to specific countries. So if you're in the UK, if you're in the EU, if you're in Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, Canada, you can get Stealing Solo 2 shipped to you directly. So don't miss out. You have less than a week, but join me you have a week and a day, and join me on Thursday next week for my 12-hour live stream to move as many copies of Stealing Solo as possible. If I survive till Christmas, I'll survive till Christmas. If I don't, I fucking don't. But at least I'm going out in style and in a way I'd be proud of. It's like, how did Jeff die? Promoting his comic book. That is the most Jeff.
There you go. That is the most Jeff thing.
So, Jared, what is the name of your channel for everyone to check out before we go?
You can find me at Comics League, where we talk about a variety of deep dive topics into comic books. Like tomorrow, we are actually not tomorrow. On Thursday, we are comparing Heroes in Crisis to Identity Crisis and talk about which one execute this. I see Andrew just fidgeting, and we're gonna be on Saturday. We're gonna be talking about why Mortal Kombat ruined DC because Injustice sucks. But
Thank you,
Andrew. Injustice is my Heroes in Crisis as a Wonder Woman fan. Let me put it to you that way, because they made Wonder Woman straight up the villain of Injustice, and I'm like, what? But anyway,
I actually hate Injustice, but I'm not going to go on that rant. Continue.
Thank you. You can come on my channel and do it, but it's like every day I do content about Wonder Woman, Superman, the Justice League, Marvel, anything that we want to talk about. But yeah, so just find me at Comics League, and then if you plug in Comics League on any social media site, inevitably I'll come up.
And folks, Jared has a lot of fun co-hosts as well. The two guys I streamed with, it was a J Heat and Dan. What's his name? Robert, sorry. He has a beard like my friend Dan, so it threw me off. It was a lot of fun, folks, so go back and check out that show. Thanks to everybody who joined us tonight. Hopefully you had a nice Thanksgiving, and hopefully you're ready for Christmas, because I'm not. Fuck it. Anyway, folks.
It's coming whether you like it or not.
I already watched Christmas Vacation. I lied. I'm ready for Christmas. But until next time, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. You're muted.
I'm not.
Oh, you're trying to do. Oh,
You're trying to do this voice, aren't you, Andrew? Oh, you'll never survive. Your old pal, Buffalo Jeff.com.